Imagine everything you love about the hobby in the palm of your hand. An entire store at your fingertips. Everything you need to know about cards is within your grasp. Unlock the secrets of the hobby. Plus, so much more. You don't have to imagine anymore. It's here. Card Ladder. Get the app today.
Hello all. Whoa, that was fast. That was lightning fast.
I'm super fast.
Jimmy John's fast. Okay. All right.
Like I said, I like this show more than anyone else.
Me too. All right, so as people pour in, I'll tell what I'm displaying. Christina and I went to the LCS and picked up a box that was already opened of the NBA Hoops premium stock, but it still had 11 of the 12 packs in it. So we bought them all, and we've been opening it, and it's a pretty cool product. Not much else to say there. And then also, for reasons that we'll probably talk about later, I remembered that we opened an Allen and Ginter box not long ago, and I went through the contents today, and I happened to find this card of Gary Vee, who also will be potentially a topic of discussion. So that's what I'm showing. That's my mail day, or a lack thereof. How about you? Do you have any mail to reveal for us?
I was going to ask first, Hoops, those boxes are what, $3K?
These Hoops premium stock? Yeah, gotta be bare minimum. I think they were charging $37 per pack, and these are like hanger packs. So you get one pack of 12 cards, and there's a bonus 3 exclusive laser prisms in the bonus pack. So I don't know.
Sounds expensive.
Yeah, that is definitely expensive.
I got one
yeah,
card.
Yeah, okay. Oh, wow. Nice. That blue looks great from that year.
These are, I'm not big, I don't know a lot about the short print stuff, but I think this one's short printed. The pop was, I have to check the pop. The pop's pretty low.
Yeah, I bet it is. The pop in general on parallels from the first few years of Prism was quite low. Oh, look at this. And you were able to access the pop report quickly as well.
I know a guy.
Oh, okay.
You can't just get on the PFA website. You have to know people.
That's right. Nicely done. Adam Lefko says he just left Clubhouse for this. This better be good. I don't know how we can compete with Clubhouse, man, because on Clubhouse, people can hear themselves talk as well. They don't have to be a captive audience listening to us two. So what was the pop, man?
15.
Okay, that's a pretty low pop. Pretty damn low. Nice. All right. Quick, let me do some announcements here. First of all, we released what is my favorite episode of Sports Cards Culture this week. I watched it back on the live stream that plays on at an hour before Crossover goes live. And we talked about the Card Ladder Index for the entire episode. We explained how we came up with it. Then we analyzed its results. It goes back 6 years now. So that was one of the new features we rolled out. So if you like that, check it out, please, on the Card Ladder YouTube page. I should also note today is February 26th, Friday. For all of you listening later via podcast, it's the evening of Friday, February 26th. And by way of announcements, that's about all I have. So let me get to a few of the initial comments. The first one comes from Mr. LAGN. He writes, "You guys are killing it with so many additions to Card Ladder." So if you ever want to get bumped to the front of the queue, just say something nice about Card Ladder, and I'm going to read your question first. So what do you have to say to this? We are making a lot of additions lately, and there's even more coming. Do you want to comment on this at all?
No, I'm putting more of my time into it, like I said last week. So, it's the hits are going to keep coming, I guess. Yeah, we're working on more cool stuff. I was doing some testing today. I was showing you, Chris, some of the cool stuff of the app. We just released a new version of the app where everything's refreshed on the UI to match the website, and then there's some other cool UI features coming to the native app. And then we're going to be doing some improvements to the graphs on the website. I feel like they haven't gotten love in a little while. Just some minor improvements, most likely. But one of the things we wanted to do is custom date ranges. So that's coming. We're working on that right now, and lots of cool stuff coming.
Yeah, that's very exciting feature there, the custom date ranges. There were a number of updates made to the CL50 since we discussed this release last week as well. Just quickly, now, like I said, it goes back all the way to 2015, which is awesome. A couple of cards were swapped out in order to make that possible. We had to remove cards from 2017 and 2018. I think you guys can figure out what cards those were. And we allowed users to look at the CL50 using a logarithmic or linear scale, and then now you have a bunch of different date ranges you can look at too. Also, the main dashboard graph that tracks total daily sales volume can be looked at logarithmic scale or linear scale, and you can zoom in on a bunch of different date ranges as well. As that data set got more and more robust over time, that functionality became more and more desirable. So, first question up. Oh, no, sorry, one more comment, then we get to questions. First, this comment comes from Goats and Grails. He says, Josh shared his entire PC on IG Live a couple days ago. It was awesome seeing his PC. And I agree with Goats and Grails. It was. Do you want to, for anybody who hasn't seen it, by the way, please go to Cardboard_Chronicles, Josh's page, obviously. Check out his PC reveal. It was one of the rare times you had the whole PC together, so you went ahead and made a video about it. Do you want to say anything else about the PC reveal video? That video kind of went hobby viral there.
No, I mean, it was fun. You know, like it's fun looking at your stuff. Obviously, I'm not big on like hyping my own cards and posting them very often. So like, I feel like when I do show it, it's kind of it kind of has more meaning. And I like seeing people share their collections more, you know, from a collector perspective and less about the investment. You know, cards that are doing well after a guy has a big game type of stuff. I'd rather see people show off their favorite cards, but you know, there's plenty of that on Instagram. Still lots of cool stuff to look at.
Definitely. So guys, go check out that video if you haven't seen it. It's one for the ages. All right, now let's get into the fun stuff. YTMN_cards. I've been waiting all day to reply to this one. Although I don't know if I have anything good. I don't know. I have some things. I don't know if I'll say them. He writes, respond to Bill Simmons calling non-ringer card content nerdy, hashtag straight cash homie.
I mean,
So
that's kind of like,
do you know
that's
what
kind of
he's
like,
referring to, like the source of this quote?
no, I didn't see the content. I don't watch that show.
Well, that's the point. I don't watch the show either. I don't know anybody who watches the show, but the person who sent this quote, I do listen to Bill Simmons' regular podcast all the time, and he mentioned that he was going to be on the Sports Card podcast today. So I have to assume that the quote came from today's episode, but I haven't listened to it either. So I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just wanted to source it and also kind of point out that like nobody we know, except for maybe YTM and Cards, actually listens to this show.
Well, he has to go on the show to try to boost the numbers because it's pretty terrible. Now that's just kind of like a cliche thing to say about the hobby when you don't really know anyone in the hobby. You just kind of assume we're all nerds, which is, you know, really far from the truth. I mean, only in the way that he's trying to use the term nerds. Like internally, we can call ourselves that because it's kind of fun, but it's just a slight dig at like, hey, we're creating cool content, and you know, we're gonna be doing this from the perspective of the ringer, and it's a little bit more hip, and everyone else is a nerd. So it's just kind of a tactic to boost your own ego.
Yeah, well, I mean, I commented to you on Facebook. I said, well, they definitely could not market that show as, you know, being the smartest content in the hobby, so they had to pivot to something else. So why not double down on what is the, I don't know what genre or style that would be classified as. I mean, like yelling at you, or being a jerk to your co-host. I don't know what lane of content that occupies exactly, but I have to tip my hat to Bill for being loyal to his content creators and doubling down and supporting them and going on their show. I think that's a nice sign. Glad he did that for them. And then, but the final thing to say is that it's also like a really weird pivot into, being cool as opposed to being nerdy. It just shows, I think, being out of step with the zeitgeist. Quick anecdote. I remember the movie in 2012, 21 Jump Street came out, and that movie encapsulated the changing of the guard that was happening in society alongside the rise of technology. Because Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill were the two main characters. Channing Tatum was this jock, and Jonah Hill was the nerd, and they had to go undercover, if memory serves correctly, and go back to high school again. And when they used to be in high school, the jock was the cool one and the nerd was the loser. But when they went back to high school in 2012, the jock was the loser and the nerd was the cool one. And that movie kind of encapsulated the changing of the guard that's happened in society with technology and so forth. And so to like pivot away from being nerdy, to pivot away from being smart, to pivot away from analysis, being thoughtful, being intelligent, I don't like that pivot at all. I try to lean into doing things intelligently as often as possible. I don't know. Do you have any reactions to my reactions?
I've always thought that Bill Simmons content was like the nerdier, more analytical content versus like SportsCenter, which was trying to be cool and loud noises, and it's just kind of a fun dichotomy he's set up there.
Definitely. All right. Also, it's awkward because, like you said, it is setting up a dichotomy. I thought we were all like united in our nerddom, and that we embraced it, and that we all were at least had that in common, that we could all be honest enough with ourselves to say we like sports cards. This is very niche, if nothing else, and there's nothing wrong with a little humble self-deprecation as well. If you got a guy sitting there with a $5 million card collection, and then he self-deprecates and says, yeah, but I'm a nerd and we're all nerds, it just plays better than a guy sitting there and thinking, yeah, look at my cards and guess how cool I am to own all these cards.
We don't know anyone like that in the hobby, though, do we?
No, definitely not. All right. So, Bill, there's an open-ended offer to we'd love to share our passion of the hobby with you sometime, Mr. Simmons, as listeners of a lot of the content that you put out. All right. Cardstock Market says we are now seeing a correction in some of the major cards in the hobby, such as Kobe's and LeBron's Topps Chrome rookies, as well as the MJ Fleer in grades of PSA 9 and below. Do you believe we experienced manipulation, or was this all due to FOMO?
Probably a little bit of both. It's impossible to specifically pinpoint it, but I mean, it's like the least shocking thing that's happened in all of these. It's the same thing every time. We don't even need to take our victory laps anymore. It's so obvious. It's like we just know it's going to happen, especially when you start seeing everyone on Facebook trying to sell all that stuff. It's just like, wow, here comes the supply. Every single one of these is going down. I'm sure you guys have been watching. If you've been watching me scroll through these, I'd probably say more of the FOMO, just because of how much volume of this stuff there is. It's kind of hard to manipulate with just how much of this there is. I'm not sure if you can like manipulate every Jordan, LeBron, Kobe card that exists. You're gonna have to let some of the FOMO take the blame here, especially with like Gary Vee and people like that saying like invest in those three and you'll be safe in the future, and people just kind of flocked to it overnight. So not surprising. This one's down a lot. Jeez, a lot. I mean, some of these. I was looking at this Jordan sticker. That one stood out to me.
Josh,
Gorgeous.
could you tilt your camera slightly to the right so we could see the right tail of the graph? Thank you, man.
The Jordan Fleer PSA 8 has gone below the 1 month the 1 month low. So it's already like corrected quite a bit back. We're
It's
back
like a
into
deformed. That's like a middle finger with the index finger slightly raised as well.
yeah. There's just too much of this stuff, man. There's 3,500 of these. That's a ton.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's not. I mean, the PSA 10s are holding just because there's not enough of them for them to drop. I mean, it's not even necessarily that the price of the 10s haven't gone down. It's just that they don't sell as often, so we don't know it.
Yep. Yep. Goes with the pinky up. Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
like a little something like that. Like it's trying to resist with these other fingers, and then eventually, like the thumb is pointing down at the end.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Honestly, yeah. You never know when something like this will happen, but there's always indicators, and we talked about them quite a bit. That these cards have extremely high populations, that they have gone through similar cycles like this before, and that there is an air of FOMO permeating the movement. So yeah, that looks like that's like a Pokemon character. I can't remember his name, where he's lifting his left arm. Anyway, so there's not a ton to say here.
You mean Ash? Like the little boy, or like a
No. It looked like a Pokemon guy. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, let's hurry before we point out some of our flaws in the Pokemon world.
Too late.
It's funny because some of the comments that you and I have heard from the people that we know that bought this at the peak are like, now they're backtracking and saying like, oh, it's just, it's for my PC. I've always wanted one of these. I'm happy if it goes to zero kind of stuff. They just gloss over it, and now we're going to start seeing everyone move on to the next hype thing and completely forget about this. It's just the same every time. Like when it goes down, nobody cares about it. Nobody wants to talk about it. They just want to quietly move on and find the next thing to hype, and I'm sure we'll find something new. Lamine will be on top of it, so we'll just have to keep an eye out for the next one. Maybe we're just in this like dip right now, and people are looking for the next one. I mean, we're going to get to it later. Obviously, we know what the next one is, but God. You said we're all united. I'm thinking, what are we united on, man? Everyone's like splitting off into these weird random sectors right now.
Yeah, definitely is happening that way. Okay, let me move on from that topic. But card stock market, thank you for giving us a chance to highlight the movement of those cards. And everybody, including us, will continue to keep a keen eye on them. And here's what I wanted to say. The Lucas Show appeared on Stacking Slabs podcast, which I was listening to that podcast in like the last hour of my day or night before I go to sleep. It comes out right as I'm finishing up work. And I was listening to it, and he said something really interesting. He said, now more than ever in the hobby, it feels like everybody does everything at the same time. And everybody gets into stuff at the same time and then moves on and gets into there definitely is a feeling of a herd more than ever.
Yeah, I think that's more just because those are the people that post the most. It's not necessarily like the way that the majority of people feel. It's just that's what gets posted the most. So I agree that it just kind of feels that way. Hopefully it's not actually true. Because like a lot of the guys that I speak to, I don't follow a lot of those accounts, to be quite honest with you. I don't follow that many accounts. So I don't see a ton of it, but I definitely still feel that way. I know what he's talking about.
Yeah. No, it's hard to ignore it. And, it's amazing. Like, so we have a Luca group chat that's 32 people full. And about half of them are completely off of Luca collecting and have moved on, but they're still in the chat. And so the chat always like moves on. And like, it's every time there's a crowd of people in there who are right in sync with that next hype. Like the 86, I remember people coming in that chat. They know I'm a Jordan collector. of almost 5 years vintage now, but they come into that chat and say, "Oh man, what do you guys know about the 1986 Fleer?" And I'm like, "Man, hold on a minute here." But I try to, say things, show things with data, but it's really a testament to the power of belief that individuals have, that there's no data set that you can show somebody. There's no argument really that you can make that will push somebody off of a belief when they firmly hold it. And then, if they've already invested into that belief, then it transforms from being a belief to a mission to convince others that their belief is correct, because they believe, and probably to some extent accurately, that beliefs can become self-fulfilling prophecies. So I digress.
Let me ask you something, Chris. Do you think the Jordan 86 Fleer has more room to grow, or do you think it's peaking? And do you think I should buy one?
Room to grow. Room to grow.
Do you think that it might still be undervalued? And has it gotten the respect that it deserves yet? I need to know the answers to all these questions.
No.
Questions I get asked all the time, like sending me pictures of raw LeBron Chrome cards asking if they should buy it at peak, and I'm like, ugh. God help you.
Oh Lord. All right. Great. All right. There's something in the chat that everybody wants, and very fortunately for you, you don't know what they're talking about.
I don't look at the chat in the hour one, so.
Okay. Because a lot of people are talking about the egg. What are you laughing about? You laughing about the egg? Because Christine knows about the egg.
The egg?
The egg. So, and we did have a question on this from Adam McNaney, the egg phenomenon. So I think this is what happens when people have a lot of idle time on Clubhouse. Memes happen, hobby memes happen. So Allen and Ginter, which, this card comes from Allen and Ginter. That card's from Allen and Ginter, 2018. 2019, Allen and Ginter has a card called Egg. And the Egg card has become a topic of fascination among Clubhouse people and Clubhouse users. And they've been buying them. They went on eBay and bought all 100 copies of it or so that were available raw. And now
did you add that to the ladder?
Yes, I did.
I was like, what the hell is that? I was going to ask you, but I was like, what is this?
Carvin asked me, he was like, I know Josh hasn't seen the egg, right? Because he's going to be like, what the hell is the egg?
What is it?
It's just a meme. It's just a card meme. They're using, that's it. And unfortunately, I didn't find any eggs in my Allen and Ginter run.
I think this card hasn't gotten its due yet. I think we're early in this, and if you don't think this is cool, you're just a hater, and you don't understand how storage of value works. This is actually on the blockchain. This egg card lives in the blockchain, so I think it's going to be the next big thing.
Egg ladder. Yes. Oh, okay. And so the background behind the story of this card is that picture of the egg is the most liked, or maybe was the most liked Instagram picture ever. Thank you, Adam.
What?
Yeah, like this, and so like the backside of the card explains that it replaced like Kylie Jenner as the most liked picture ever on Instagram. So like Allen and Ginter does these little pop culture cards. And so, they're trying to get Kylie Jenner to tweet about the egg card. It's just, it's a sign of the times, shall we say.
I feel like I'm not that old, but here it is. Kylie Jenner's newborn to non-slip. Whatever, man. I don't understand it, but I'm an old 32 now in this hobby, so.
The chat wanted the egg. Corey King says there's a cryptocurrency card in the same set, and he's right. And the cryptocurrency card is being used as the baseline, sort of, as the egg speculators are trying to see what the ceiling is for the egg. And so I added the cryptocurrency card as well. So we have a finger to the pulse of these very niche lanes of the hobby.
The problem with these physical cards like this is that I can't obtain enough of it and dump it fast enough. That's the problem with the physical cards. I don't know if you do that.
Yeah, there's a little bit of transaction friction there.
Sure, and you have to grade them. It's a nightmare.
Yes. Oh, grading. We have topics on grading too. All right. Let me move on to the next question. That's for all you eggheads out there.
Nice.
You guys got your acknowledgments.
We're nerds. There you go.
We are definitely there. Yo, Adam is going off. Those eggs are definitely being shelled. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
That is A+.
That's really good.
All right. Stacking Slabs writes in to say, football cards, baby. I think Brady's 7th is the best thing that could possibly happen to the football card market, and we are seeing the juice. If people are spending money on Marvel cards, why wouldn't they be spending it on football cards? Seeing all-time highs right now in Tier 2 players like Kyler Murray, and even in skill spots like Derrick Henry. Would love some commentary on the strength of the football card market and what this means for long-term viability.
Yeah, I mean, I've been not so quietly talking about football for about a year now, and it's not any surprise that I have a lot of it and I enjoy collecting it. It's fun for me. I like the receivers. That's my favorite. Those are my favorite players. So I've been collecting my favorite cards and my favorite players, and it is a fun space, man. Like I send you all these auctions, Chris, that I've been trying to win just because, like, would I rather spend $2,000 on like my favorite receiver's best card, or like a LeBron like Panini like orange PSA 9 card? It's like that's just kind of where I'm at. It's just it's like a more fun space. I've seen the prices. It's kind of crazy because it usually doesn't start ticking up. I think that's kind of what Brett's talking about. It usually doesn't start ticking up until preseason, and now it's like super early. Prices are already going up. I saw the Henry, Derrick Henry. I'm trying to think like what else has gone up. I haven't really paid attention.
Julio Jones rookie refractor PSA 10. I remember seeing an all-time high just maybe a day or two ago on that.
Yeah, I was hoping that the prices would stay lower a little bit longer so I could still buy some more. But yeah, I've seen those prices. It's pretty nuts. I'm not sure why. Wow, look at that. Jeez. That's in the last year. 200, 1,300. I mean, the stuff's a lot more rare. People just haven't graded it just because it's football and it hasn't been valuable historically. So there's not as much in the pop reports. It's quite a bit more rare. I don't know. I don't really have a comment. I guess like I'm kind of too much in the middle to give you my opinion without hyping it up too much. So
yeah, well, I mean, I think it's also completely fine to have the point of view that look, as a collector, I'm seeing how far my dollar can go, and football is bringing me a lot more bang for my buck right now. And I'm also a football fan and a fan of these athletes and a fan of the cards. Football has a lot of great brands, and it's not such a little known. It's not such a well kept secret that Panini execs are big football fans, and some of the football cards and the football designs are among the very best that they offer every year. There's a lot to like in football, to be damn sure. My reaction is that I think perhaps as the market gets more clever, more analytical, more rational, more logical, we keep seeing the off-season dip get smaller and smaller as people realize that like if enough people realize that prices dip because the enthusiasm for the sport goes away during the off season, and then they say, hey, I'll just be a little more disciplined and buy stuff during the off season. Then do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Like, I mean, I'm guilty of that. Like, I talk about it so much that like I'm starting to believe that like people are all thinking the same thing I am. They're like, dude, I'll just buy in the off season. And another thought is that like in the off season, maybe this is more true for football. So like, I'm not sure if it applies to everything, but in football, it's such a short season and the fans are so dedicated and hungry for football, that in the off season, cards are like their way to keep their football spirits alive. And during the season, they just want to watch the games and they're not as into the cards. I don't know, maybe that's overthinking a little bit, but there could be something at play there. But because definitely like the football prices during the season were the lowest, because it was like football guys more than anyone don't live up to the hype because there's just so much unknown in football, and you never know what team's going to emerge. And some of the guys that you have a lot of hype going into the season don't pan out. It just happens every year. There's like always a team that goes from first to worst, and vice versa. So the off season might start becoming like the more the time during the season when the prices go up the most. It could be a shift there.
Yeah, that is a very astute, novel point that you will not hear on any other hobby content. I guarantee it. Sorry to nerd out on you guys like that and say something intelligent. I know that's not really the lane that we're trying to go for anymore in hobby content, but there it is. Something intelligent was just said. And I think like relatedly to that, I think like if to the extent that there will continue to be a slight off-season dip, like it's going to keep moving up earlier and earlier. Like its life expectancy is going to get smaller and smaller. So, there have been some small dips. Like Mahomes took, like we talked about this on the SEC episode 2 weeks ago. Mahomes took a step back. Brady took a step back. I mean, those guys were so anticipated. Travis Kelce took a step back. There was so much anticipation and enthusiasm built into those cards that they needed to take a breath. But, the length of time that those prices are going to stay down might be shorter than it's ever been. So food for thought there as well. Perhaps just the cycle is just moving up early and earlier. All right, let's move on. Thank you for that great question, Brett. Bob Barth writes, why is it everywhere you go, you hear about people disliking the investors that are quote unquote destroying the hobby? Isn't the real difference between collector and investor today the intended length of the hold? I'm a collector and certainly want my kids to get a pile of money when I'm gone for everything I managed to hoard while I was alive.
That's a very thoughtful question. I appreciate that one. I want to give it as much thought as I can before I just blurt something out. Yeah, I agree with like the sentiment of what he's trying to say, that like you can't just like be quick to lash out at someone based on their 51% affiliation between collector and investor, and sort of like take each person individually and figure out what their motives are. I guess you and I would probably jump on top of somebody who is trying to be selfish in their investor gains and their way they're pumping their own cards and posting stuff 100 times over. And you and I know plenty of investors who we would call friends in the hobby and genuine people over people who would be considered collectors. So it's not necessarily like a collector's good, investor's bad. Definitely a case by case scenario. And the investors are definitely a critical part to the market. As a collector / investor myself, like I can recognize the value that investors bring to the market. It keeps the collectors on their toes. It helps shine lights on what cards the general public sees as valuable, and helps collectors sort of like narrow their focus on what they might deem important for their collection. There's lots of different, factors that go into the two, keeping each other in balance. So it's definitely like a necessary piece to the hobby that doesn't go unnoticed by me. So I appreciate the thought of the question.
Yeah, very thoughtful question. Agree with that reply. I would draw the distinction at a pretty nuanced level. So obviously most people are never even going to get into the weeds this far, but I think enough people will that it's interesting to make this observation. I think the distinguishing factor between a collector and investor comes down to the reason why they think a particular card has value and or will continue to appreciate. I think that's where the distinction happens. I think an investor, tends to be, not always, but tends to be somebody who thinks that a card has value and will continue to appreciate simply because more people later will come to find that it is even more valuable. And the reasoning doesn't go beyond that. It's very similar to the stock market. The thinking is that I will acquire these stocks because at some point down the line, these shares are going to increase in value. Point blank. It's not more deep than that for many. It's just that simple. On the other hand, I think a collector is somebody who thinks that cards have value and may or may not think that they're going to appreciate, but their theory for why cards have value, their theory for why they will open their wallet to buy cards is that they believe that they would rather have the item because of its intrinsic value to them than the money that it would cost them to get it. So therefore, a collector is somebody, in the very nature of that word, collecting, desires the item more than the cash that they have because of some intrinsic value that that item brings to them. And now I think the great irony here about this distinction is that I think over the long run, ultimately, collectors will end up being the best investors because the sports card market itself on a fundamental level has such a firm base, and it has flourished for so many generations, for so many decades and multiple generations because of that fundamental, intangible, intrinsic aspect of joy that cards bring to people's lives. So I think ultimately the collector, their intuition is more in sync with the reason why cards have value than the investors is. But I just want to say that's not a perfectly clean distinction. I think that there are some investors who do think more deliberately about fundamentals, and there are investors who are looking at different cards and saying, is this card collectible or not? Are there people out there who would do anything for this card? Is it rare? Is it scarce? Is it beautiful? Is it important in the context of the hobby's history? Does it depict the highly collectible player? You had, I think, and then I think like the grand champion of all this will ultimately be the dispassionate investor who's able to analytically process the state of the market by understanding the fundamentals of collectibles and understanding this new dynamic of speculative investors. So
there's also the collector. I would consider myself in this category of like the gray area between what you're describing, where the collector mindset sort of leads the way, but then within the lane that you're collecting, if you are deciding between A and B, you choose the one that like you feel is the better investment long term. That's how I approach it. So like when I tell you like, hey, go buy Prism Gold and that a 99 RPA, that's on the frontier of like a million cards for you to choose from for Christian McCaffrey. It's like you got to choose something. You know, as a collector, most of us can't just like buy every single card. So like if you had to choose, you're gonna try to find the like fulcrum of a good investment and like something that is collectible to you and that you enjoy. So I think there is like that sort of that match that I tend to look for when I'm buying cards, like especially on football where it's a little bit cheaper and I have more, my money can go further, you know. So I think there is still like a gray area between the two. So it's not anyone's really like purist of one or the other.
Right, indeed. And the terms are loose. There are, what my conception of an investor versus collector is different than the next guy's, is different than the next guy's. And there's always going to be something tribal about the human condition when it assembles in groups, and people are going to be inclined to take sides. And, to a certain level, like sometimes one side gangs up on the other or vice versa. And nobody enjoys that, especially when they're on the receiving end of it. So,
yeah. But dude, I feel like the most recent climate that we're in with like, I feel like I don't even categorize the person that I'm thinking of as an investor. It's like a frenzied, like FOMO, insane person just trying to like quick cash grab flip. It's like not even a flipper. It's like being nice to flippers. You know what I'm talking about? Like an investor in the sports card space traditionally has been like a more longer term thinking person, looking over trends, looking over, you know, different decades of charts, and like trying to understand markets over a really long period of time and understand like where they can jump into a market at a certain point and maybe capitalize over a 3 to 5 year window. Whereas lately it's been like, oh my God, how can I convince 2,000 people that this drawing of this thing is worth 100 times more than it was 2 days ago? It's like, what the heck? This is like insane. I have to get triple my money in 2 days or else I'm going to freak out mode. And it's like, where did this come from? I'm not sure that we can attribute that to like the investor mindset. That's why I thought of that question more slowly, because it's like, I don't want to just like bucket investors with this new sort of new age, triple my money overnight kind of thinking.
Yeah, great point. I don't know if stock investors, for example, or the hobby's most cited prophet, Warren Buffett, would agree that what people in the hobby consider investing in its most common use is in fact investing, for the points that you just made. That, you know, I think some people think investing is more of an act that requires diligence and research and patience and long-term thinking, and those three variables oftentimes seem to be not present. And I think we can actually identify one person in particular who may have stigmatized the word investor as it relates to sports card. So, and has sort of changed what investor means. Maybe they were riding the wave of that, or maybe they're reflecting it, or maybe they caused it. But, you know, investor and investing is taken on a weird meaning in the hobby that, like you said, actually what we think of now as investing in sports cards really is more like a get rich quick flip scheme.
Yeah, I actually, like, through all this, have come to appreciate the category of investor in sports cards, because like I'm always thinking about this. Like I've said it a bunch of times on this, but I'm always thinking this over like a 10, 20, 30-year span, and these little blips of greed and like rage and flipping and pump and dumps and follow me over to this segment of the hobby kind of stuff is just like, man, over the 30-year haul, like, is this stuff even gonna register? Are we gonna even see these middle fingers? Are we gonna see these Pokemon middle fingers, or is this kind of be a long-term game? And it's kind of one of those things where, you know, like when you're investing in the stock market, you always hear like, don't try to time your entrance or your exit. Just sort of like jump into it. Go with your belief on what you should be investing in and kind of just go for it, and don't try to like time it. I feel like that kind of like will start to play itself out in cards as people that have been in this for 6 months start to pick up on it, and we have people that are, you know, the average length of time people being in the hobby starts to lengthen. We'll start to have things flatten out and even out, and that'll become more true. But maybe it won't. Maybe the hobby is just the place where people go to gamble and flip and make crazy FOMO decisions. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that is the state of things right there. I think you just summed it up. We're not sure. We just have to sit back and watch and see how it plays out, and not get overly that was something we talked about in the sports cards culture this week as well, in several weeks now. Not getting distracted. You gave a great tip, something that I never really needed to do when I was super focused on Michael Jordan collecting. But now that like my eyes are over the entire market across numerous sports and non-sports, like I need to do this now. Making a list, and the list says the cards that I want. And if a card that I want isn't on the list, there's a reason for it. And like if a card, like, dude, I found myself making an offer on a 2014 Prism Gold Pulsar Zach LaVine 8 out of 10. And
Jesus.
I was like, okay, I need to did you hear Josh's reaction to that? I was like, okay, I need to make a list. I need to make a list.
Yeah, you need to check that motherfucker twice. Jesus, did you just say blue? Did you say Pulsar Zach LaVine? Was it a PSA 9 too?
It was a BGS 9.5 jersey number 8 of 10, but it's the photo variation gold Pulsar. And it was like, I don't know, 10K OBO or something. And I offered like 3K, and he came back with like 64, and now he sent out an offer to all the watchers at 5,200. And like I like the Bulls. I've been watching the Bulls. I like Zach LaVine, but like I just had to be like, this is not a card that I collect.
No.
I need to make a list because I'm going way off the reservation here.
Yeah, I definitely, I know the feeling you're talking about where it's like, if I don't have to get this card now, like I got to buy something. And it's like, calm down. There'll be something better that comes up in a week. You'll forget about this.
Yeah.
Think about like, I usually just like sleep on it. And my wife tells me this all the time because I get really like frenzied to make a decision and kind of run with that decision. She's like, why don't you just see how you feel tomorrow? Because you probably won't even care about it. Yeah, you know what? You're probably right. And then the next morning, it's like, I'm on to the next thing. So I know the feeling.
Yeah, that's great advice. I'm going to pull up the card listing really quick on eBay. So
he's going to buy it live, folks. Come on.
He is not.
Okay, here it is. Here it is. All right.
Click on that bitch.
No.
Ben! See, look, there's been an offer. Look, because I'm a watcher, so seller's offer 5,200. So here's the card, right? This 2014 Prism is very annoying because look, it's a photo variation. That's annoying. So like, there's a variation and there's non-variation.
Put your hand on the screen.
My hand.
This is the biggest computer screen in the world. What is this?
Screen
This is a 65-inch TV.
The screen is gigantic. And look who's over there looking at me while I'm doing the show.
Put his hand up and it's like barely covering his nose.
So look, it is jersey numbered, and like I just like LaVine. He's having a good season. He's an all-star. He's on the Bulls, but like, and so maybe. Oh, I don't know why I just turned it back to myself. Maybe if it was it's not hour 2 yet. Maybe if it was like a true Prism Gold of the non-variation.
Right. Well, I have some thoughts on the card.
Yeah, let's hear your thoughts.
I think that it is undervalued. I think it hasn't gotten its respect yet, and it will. I think you need to, if you don't respect Zach LaVine, then it's a shame on you, and you're going to miss out. In 2 years from now, this card is going to be double.
Yes. Look what Rodman says. Rodman says, "Go, man. That's got your name written all over it, man." Look, he put man in there twice. He's so excited to try and to prevent me from being a competitor on those Jordan Grails.
Chris, I'm always the guy. If you ever need someone to tell you that you're just being an idiot, I'm always that guy. There's so many guys in the chat. They're like that. They probably think I'm just mean, but I'm like, I tell you the truth. Like, I'm that guy that saves you money. So if you need help not buying a card, hit me up.
No, I knew it was dumb. I knew it was dumb. The price I offered is the price that his Prism Silver PSA 10 goes for right now. So, yeah,
that's an undervalued aspect of the hobby is having people to tell you no and like this is a stupid idea and it's undervalued. I think.
right. I know somebody go
exactly
right now. All right. So we have 10-ish minutes left, and we have two very big topics that got a lot of questions. So,
all right,
we'll pick one, I think, that we'll be able to get into. Topic A is a bunch of stuff relating to PSA and potential rate hikes and website, and then topic B is Top Shot. And I set an over under on my Instagram story. I said, what do you think that we will spend more than 5 minutes or less than 5 minutes talking about Top Shot on hour one? And it was split 50-50 exactly. The poll results went 50-50. So I set a good over under. But my question to you is, which one would you rather tackle now, and which one would you rather save for hour two?
Well, I said more than 5 minutes, and I love being right, but I'm going to do the opposite.
Oh, so, okay. All right. So Top
Yes,
Shot will be saved for hour two then, is what you're
I
telling
need
me.
the full hour. I need the full hour.
Okay. All right. Okay, so all right, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had 6 questions on PSA. So first one comes from Kevin L. Wu. He says, quote, "You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain," end quote. How long is the honeymoon before people start turning on Nat Turner and PSA? And then
man.
let me put a few more questions there because they all were kind of similar. Yamwax says, has anybody else been busy all week filling out grading submissions ahead of the rumored PSA price spikes? Card Insights 2 says PSA price increase, question mark. So let's okay. Now let's talk about this rate hikes and the honeymoon and so forth.
Yeah, I feel like I've talked about the price hike on BGS and PSA a bunch of times, but like I guess I'll say it again. When demand goes up and they're not able to meet it, the only way to solve it for these businesses is to either scale and hire a bunch of people or raise the prices. And they're having trouble obviously hiring at the rate to keep up, so they're just going to raise prices, and that's just kind of the reality of it. There's not really like a deep philosophical reason, and it's not because Nat hates everybody now and he's not a collector. None of those are true. It's purely like a business move. They're trying to, one, reduce the demand to try to catch up, and two, just like capitalize on the demand that is there and make more money. It's just kind of the reality of it. Do I need to get into that more? I feel like I don't.
No. And let me say this. Nat tweeted this series of 5 tweets today that are worth reading. He says, "I'm excited to announce I led a group to take over Collectors Universe, or to take it private, and the deal officially closed. I'll be executive chairman going forward. Collectors Universe is the leading company for authenticating. Yes, we know. I'll be spending a ton of time with the team starting after I depart Flatiron in the near future. So many things to work on and invest in, including technology to improve the grading process and customer experience. Collectors Universe is growing incredibly fast and hiring for many positions. If you are interested, DM, in particular product management, engineering, I think that, or is that engagement? I don't know, and customer support. And more to come in the future as to specific plans on what we're doing at Collectors Universe with the increased investment. And yes, number one priority is improving turnaround times. Until then, happy collecting." So that's straight from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, I think like this is probably just a product of all these different short FOMO jumps from, trend to trend, where like everything has to be done in a week and we have to like have resolutions. And that's basically saying like, this is going to take time. I haven't even left my previous job. Like this is going to take months, if not years. So like, again, all of these things in real life, I'm not sure about crypto digital world, but like things in real world take time. You can't just like move a boat. You can't just like move the needle on like where things are at in terms of turnaround times and the way these businesses are run and all the infrastructure of cards. These things are all going to take a lot of time. So you just kind of have to have some like long-term thinking and some patience on these things.
Right on. Good. So do you think, though, to Kevin's question, will public opinion turn on PSA because of the anxiety and the FOMO nature and the myopia of the hobby right now, or will the hobby be patient and give it a try? Give it a chance.
I mean, dude, like, they've had pretty like poor customer reviews for a long time, so I don't think that's really that new. Like if you've seen people comment on their Instagram posts, it's like vastly negative. Like, when's my card gonna? It's just like super negative. But people keep still sending it to them because PSA gets higher prices. And I've been running some numbers on some of the cards in our systems, and PSA just has like a massive premium. So until that stops, like the numbers still are in favor of you sending cards to PSA. So like it's not really deterring people necessarily so far. So I'm not sure if that's gonna shift. And with like the new ownership, at least like on the surface, talking about how that's their number one priority, and I'm sure there's gonna be some improvements. Someone posted in the chat that they've hired a ton of people. So like it's probably gonna get better. Like I don't really see how it could get much worse. So it's gonna get better, and we've already seen a pretty like negative tone towards PSA already. It's just that the prices just make so much sense that people just keep sending to them. They're willing to put up with it. The prices are the ratios are so high.
Yeah, definitely. I do think that the backlog may have reached such a proportion that, because I hear this chatter on Clubhouse now. I'm getting smarter by the day over there.
I don't think so.
Some of the chatter is people are sending stuff to CSG, which just opened submissions. They're sending stuff to HGA, which has been open for a little while, strictly because they want to get the cards back so that they can sell them quickly. That's the whole size of it.
If it comes back and it's cheaper than it was raw, like I'm not sure that makes a lot of sense.
No, it definitely does not. If that's the outcome, so they're speculating on the brand and the market viability of these alternative companies. Lefko made a good comment. He said, one way to guard against having to deal with turnaround times is just buy graded cards.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've been saying that for 6 months now on this show. I just buy graded cards. I do have a lot of raw stuff, but I just like it's stuff that I'm not like in a rush to get graded, or I'm not trying to play a timing game with them. You just gotta like adjust the way you move. You can't just like complain and yell at everybody. You just gotta like figure it out for yourself. Like you just gotta adjust, or else you're gonna lose. I mean, complaining does nothing.
Agreed. I bought graded cards since day one. I always thought the slabs looked cool. I always feel like my raw cards are in terrible, terrible condition, even when I don't drop them. I just like graded cards. I'm happy to buy a graded card. When it comes to grails or like really big PC cards, I prefer strongly to buy graded because I know exactly what I'm getting.
Yeah, I just like David just said it. I just always have cards like in circulation in all these different forms, and it like depending on what it is that I'm trying to accomplish with it is how I decide whether I'm going to buy raw or graded. And if I'm trying to get football cards back before the preseason right now, as an example, like I'm not going to buy stuff that like I desperately need to sell before the season because I don't know if I'm going to get it back before then. So like it wouldn't be wise of me. But if I want to flip something over the next couple of months for football, like yeah, I'm just going to buy graded. It just depends on the situation. You just got to figure out what's best for you and understand that the turnaround times are slow and just like deal with it, figure it out.
Definitely. All right.
Be a nerd.
What's that?
Be a nerd.
Yeah, amen to that. This will be the first I'm writing this down. That's the first headline on this episode when I repost it. We have 3 more PSA questions. Let me see if we can. Christina, Adam wants to know what you're buying. Also, did you find out what our Top Shot collection is worth from that pack we opened? That'll be for hour 2. All right, so be a nerd.
What am I buying?
What are you buying? What cards are you buying?
Right now?
Yeah. So you can think about it. All right. Well, Christina will think about it.
I know what I'm buying.
We had a few more PSA questions. We'll go through them very quickly as we wrap up this hour. G Sports 33 says, what will increasing PSA prices do to the card market?
Going to increase the value of PSA cards because they're going to be harder to get.
Yep. And it's going to make it less likely that cards that are in that $50 to $100. I don't know how much they're increasing their rates to if they double, for example. It takes away the incentive to grade cards that only go to $50 or $100 if they're graded. So those cards are gonna those pop reports for cards in that range are never gonna inflate.
The best I've ever felt buying a single card when I knew it was like super high price was this, because like because it was already graded. It's not a 10, so I wasn't worried about like inflation of I wasn't worried about like it being overpriced as a 9. It's an old label. It's already graded. I didn't have to fuss with sending it in. It's just like buying already graded is just such a really, it's a great experience. You get it in the mail. You don't really have to worry about it, think about it. So I guess that's kind of putting the nail in the coffin or whatever.
Definitely. 13 Publius 13 writes in, if BGS mounts a comeback and reclaims their place as the top grading company, do you think Kevin Durant will cash out of Collector's Universe and try to buy in to BGS? So he always has at least a few comedic comments for us. There was another one. Do you want to say anything about that comment?
Not really. I mean, we're just sort of romanticizing about who we want to buy what company at this point.
Yeah, indeed. Finally, on the PSA topic, Venezuelan League sticker says, talk about Cloudflare and anti-DDoS software and why it has rendered PSA's website unusable for most of the week.
Oh, it doesn't do it anymore. Yesterday, I sent you a picture. I have that screenshot of it somewhere.
Yeah. Anybody who's tried to go on PSA site over the last few days, yeah, has seen this.
Look at this guy saving his screenshots. This was what I hit when I went to the homepage of PSA.com. What a great user experience. Welcome. Do all these things before you can look at our website.
Right.
So they're trying to stop. A DDoS attack is a coordinated attack to try to logjam the traffic of a website to prevent other users from getting to that website. So like you basically hog all the bandwidth of the website for yourself to prevent others from doing it. That's what a DDoS attack is, and they're claiming that's what was happening. So they're having to put in these crazy security measures to stop those DDoS attacks. So it really is a big sacrifice to make because the general customer, their user experience was diminished vastly over the last couple of days. It looks like it's okay now. So the site is loading for me fine now. I don't have any of those crazy screens, so hopefully that's resolved. And I think that they posted we're looking into it and we're feverishly working to fix it while our engineers are on it. I said to you last night, we could just assume that this is trying to block everyone and trying to screw everyone, but it seems like there was some sort of actual reason technically that they were doing those things, and hopefully they've resolved it.
Yeah, good. Thank you for explaining that. And because I'll tell you, things were not trending in the right direction this week when the news of PSA's rate hikes spread throughout the hobby, and then that was coupled with a website that was virtually unusable for long periods of time. That's just not, the arrow wasn't pointing in the right direction there. But now things looking better, and to go back to what Nat said, give it time because this is a transition process. So, all right, let us conclude hour one with that. We've been going for 63 minutes. We'll be back for hour two in 90 seconds. Welcome back all for hour two.
Oh, slow. God.
Boom.
Where's my hat?
Where is the hat? All right, while people pour in, the question was asked, what is Christina collecting? And she prepared this for me. She is collecting Maxi Kleber rookie cards, and she is going all in on them. So this is what Christina has been collecting. Or buying, or I forget how the question was phrased exactly.
What are you investing in right now?
All right.
Wait, what I'm buying is different from what I'm investing in.
Got it. Ovechkin is your investment.
What I'm investing in is Chipotle for Josh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
To keep him happy. I'm investing in gift cards for Josh.
I'm going to use Chipotle in my rant on Top Shot. Just be ready.
I'm so ready. All right. We'll let a few more people come in. Adam Lefko sent in a question right before the show. He said, "Wash, what are your thoughts on Josh?"
What the fuck? Hold on, I have to like get real meta and step outside myself. I don't know. That's a silly question. That's I can't even like think about what the Wash persona is anymore. It's just like when I start ranting, I guess that I
Yeah.
rant too much. That I rant too much, and that I'm that or no. So Wash. Okay, what does Wash think? Wash thinks that that Josh is a pussy. I guess. He's trying to like he's too political. He tries to like play both sides too much, and he tries to like be nice to everybody instead of just like sticking to what he knows is right. That's a good answer.
That's great. That is deep. All right.
Yeah.
So
I had to think about it for a
Can
second.
you do me a favor? Can you ask Adam how you spell or how you pronounce Luca's last name for me?
he knows. I heard him talking about this on Clubhouse or somewhere. No, or maybe it was on his podcast. He said he spent the whole day thinking about Doncic, because he may have left off the last itch on the name when he was actually interviewing Luca.
When he
Oh
was
no.
the boy.
Well, not that Adam needs this ego stroke, but he is really good on the Tuesday show. I was texting him after I watched it maybe on Tuesday. It's really entertaining. I just think it's obviously like the TNT crew is obviously really good, and I like that crew just as much as I like the main crew because I think that Wade is really, really good, Candace is good, and I think Adam's really good at his job, and it's just a fun show, man. So kudos to that whole team. It's just I was texting him about how much I enjoyed Wade and Shaq because like Wade is clearly like friendly with all the players, and Shaq is just like full boat like I'm Shaq. I can say whatever I want about these current players, when I think they're not doing the right thing. And Wade's trying to. It's just so good. Like that whole because Charles and Shaq always agree on that, and to have Wade kind of take the other side is really, really interesting.
Yeah, it is really good. It's funny. I watch the show more often than I watch the games that precede it.
Ooh.
So make of that what you will.
So I think Adam does a great job, and we love you, Adam. I just had to give you shit because
Christina's trying to host. You want to just come over and just do the hosting? Okay.
I got too much over here.
All right. Anyway, Christina said her piece too now. All right. So we got a lot of questions on Top Shot. In fact, this was the first time ever that two people sent an identical comment. Word for word identical comment. And the two people who sent it are Flippity Flip Cards and Chasing Exquisite 03. Like two very different names. They imply different personalities. But here was their message. Please don't talk about Top Shot, period. Okay, all right. So that's the first time we ever had two identical messages, and that was it. Ryan Bitter writes in 2 words, very succinct, top shit. I'm not sure if that was it because he was going very quickly because it autocorrects, when you type in shot sometimes, or if he really meant to say top shit. Kings Angels 22 says Top Shot had 106,000 users in the queue for this AM's drop. And I think it was actually over 200,000. Thoughts? Drake's PC says, is Top Shot for investors only, or is there truly a collectible aspect to it? It seems like strictly an investment to me, but maybe I just haven't come around to the digital collectible space yet. Okay, there's more. There's 2 more questions on Top Shot, but let's start there.
Yeah, let's try to keep it short. I'm nervous. I've been thinking about this so much. I've been thinking about it all day. So I have 2 sides to the rant. The first side is I'll give my take on it, and I'll give my, pseudo advice, my wash, if you will, and then I'll give my personal thoughts on it. That'll be the normal forwards hat. So first, I my first take on it is that like it's extremely risky. It's extremely risky. It's a market where everything is seemingly only going up. There was a poll that Darren Ravel took on Twitter of like, are you in it for the quick flip? It literally said free money, or are you in it for the collecting? And it was like 83% quick flip, 17 collecting. And I told you like, there's no way all 17% of those people are like being honest. That they're just saying that as part of their ploy to hype it up even more. That like, oh, it's real collectors. So that's the first thing. Like, I don't see anyone in it that's collecting. And you may say, oh, okay, well, that's kind of similar to the stock market and real estate. But those are long established investment vehicles that have been around for decades, if not over a century. So like, you just can't compare something that's been around for 2 months to something that's been around that long. Second, there's a ton of risk in the inability to withdraw your funds. The reason that it's a risk in that regard is because not only like, what if you never can take your money out, but when you can, let's say that they open it up and people can start taking their money out. What do you think is going to happen? All the people that have 10x their money, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to freaking take all their money out, and they're going to realize those gains, and then the market is just going to get sucked out. Like all this money is going to get taken out of it. I also believe there's a little bit of something going on where, like, let's say you buy something and then you 10x your money, right? You 10x your money, and you want to withdraw US dollars cash out of the system. And the folks that built this site took the money they've had given to them and they spent it. Is it guaranteed that they're going to be able to pay out if half the people in Top Shot took out all their cash as US dollar? There's no way they'd be able to pay that because they've taken some of that investment capital and done something else with it. So there's a risk there. There's no history to it. There's no market. So you're just sort of like gambling and hoping that it works out. And I know that everyone's all excited. You had some other points about it, so I'll let you jump into like more reasons. But I don't want to spend too much time on this. The second is just like me as a person, as an individual. I don't like it because I only have so much time and focus in my life, and cards take up a lot of that. And I've got Card Ladder, I've got a family. Like, I just don't see the need to like spread yourself so thin across all these different things. Like, I don't need to jump from cards to Top Shot to crypto to NFTs. Like, I just don't see any value in my life in trying to like do all of those things at once. And cards are the only one where I actually physically enjoy doing it every day. So that's the one I'm going to put all my time in. I'll let you jump in, I guess. It's been a long time. I'll take a breath.
Yeah, no, I mean, somebody said in the chat, they said, yeah, it's nice to hear Chris' analysis, but Josh is going to make us laugh. Yes, Josh, you're always going to give it a straight from the heart personal point of view on it. Whereas I'm the guy who just talks around it, but you got right to it. So that was a really good take. I'll rattle off some things, and then if you have more takes,
Sure.
Bring them on for sure. First thing, obviously, is that everyone in the chat still talking about the damn egg. The first thing is that an acknowledgement to Adam Lefkoe and some others as well, who were talking about this months ago, and messaged you and me about it and said, hey, look, I think there's something here. This is why I like it, blah, blah, blah. And, that gave me an early heads up to think about it, because I didn't like it right away. But I had to think about why. And a part of it is because, like, I saw Shayway Vlogs point this out. It does feel threatening to sports cards. So, like, I think that was a part of my initial reaction to not like it. Another part of my reasoning to not like it was because it's just not up my alley at all. So, like, I'm not going to be in anything that is not, something I like. I don't know. That seems tautological, but There it is. And it had so much investor energy around it. And I don't like things with all this investor energy around it. I like things with the collectible energy around them, and in particular cards. It's very niche. Like, I didn't come into sports cards for any reason other than in 2016 I discovered a big pile of them, and it connected me to my youth. All right, and then from there, the addiction set in. So let me say a few things. All right, number one, the biggest pet peeve I have with the way Top Shot is talked about is simply this: it is not sports cards, and we as sports card people, and myself included, have to stop being irritated by that, because it's the ultimate compliment when people involved in Top Shot, including the official Top Shot account, tweet out things like Top Shot is just like sports cards because X, Y, and Z. And the reason why is because Top Shot is trying to give itself legitimacy by drawing on the already existing legitimacy that sports cards have. Yep. So it's placing sports cards in the hierarchy of legitimacy above Top Shot, by Top Shot needing to refer to and analogize to sports cards in order to give itself legitimacy. So upon reflection, it's a compliment for Top Shot to aspire to be comparable to sports cards. So I stopped being so defensive about people comparing Top Shot to sports cards. But I still think it's worthwhile to point out three really big distinctions between Top Shot and sports cards, just so that the audience can have them in their minds and use them when they make their own judgments. Because we do see a lot of comparing to sports cards and Top Shot. So first of all, the first difference is that Top Shot and sports cards don't have the same history. Maybe you could say the history of NFTs goes back 10 years. You could say cryptocurrency has a 10-year history, but that's not in the same realm as the history of sports cards, which, depending upon which type of sports cards you're talking about, but the category as a whole goes back generations and generations. The history matters, because when we're able to look back and study patterns and trends that have happened over the course of history, we can learn things and we can gain confidence. We can understand the human psychology that's at play in this market. So there's a lot to be said about history, and something having history matters. Number two, it's not sports cards because sports cards are physical. And I hear one of the arguments that's often offered for the superiority of Top Shot to sports cards is that Top Shot is digital in an increasingly digital age with kids who are really into digital things. See, I go the other direction with that. I think that in an increasingly digital age, we still have 5 senses. We don't have 4. We still have 5. And the 5th sense, obviously, is the sense of touch. It doesn't go away. Just because we're in an increasingly digital age. And in fact, I think as things become more digital, things that have a physical dimension to them become more valuable, not less. And then the third and final one, which I think is the most important one, is that sports cards have nostalgia and a childhood connection, which harkens back to the very first point I made. I came back to sports cards because I collected them as a kid, because I rediscovered this huge box of them that I had, because I went down the rabbit hole. I pulled out my old Beckett magazines. There was a real meaningful nostalgic connection to childhood that sports cards gave me. And it cannot be understated how important the escapism and the nostalgic connection to childhood is for the success of sports cards as a market and for its long-term viability. So I think whereas Top Shot does have some nostalgia, it connects you to moments. There's definitely nostalgic aspects to moments and to watching games. I'm not saying that there isn't, but it's a very different type. The type of nostalgia that we get from connecting to childhood is extremely valuable. There's lots of studies and research that has been done about the power of nostalgic connections to childhood, about the different revelations we make about what we like and what inspires us when we're kids, and how those things translate to us as adults. So that's a really important part too. All right. So having said all that, with my basic thesis, my bottom line being that as long as we can fairly distinguish sports cards from Top Shot, and as long as we can understand that, like, us in sports cards, the way we look up to the fine art market and we say, this inspires me to think about how I am as a collector when I look at how people treat art. That's how Top Shot is now looking at sports cards. I think that's a good place to understand where Top Shot relates to sports cards. It's just like we would like to have the same legitimacy that fine art has, and some might argue that we do, but we analogize ourselves to fine art. Fine art doesn't analogize itself to us. Similarly, Top Shot analogizes itself to sports cards. Sports cards do not analogize themselves, or those collectors do not analogize themselves to Top Shot people. All right, with all that being said, I've become much more optimistic about the coexistence. All right, so I'll end on this. Top Shot is increasingly gained more and more sales, and the sales volume has gone up and up and up, and 200,000 people in the queue, unbelievable metrics. There's no other way to put it. The market for that product is enormous, and it's booming. And people predicted that, and they should get credit for calling that. But by the same token, sports cards are doing extremely well right now too. They're harmoniously thriving. It's not like $1 million went into Top Shot and it left sports cards. In fact, it almost seems as if the people who are interested in them don't really overlap whatsoever. So, all right, I've said a ton of things. I will stop now. That's my Top Shot rant.
I'm going to forget all my points.
Sorry. Look, I write things. That's why I write things down.
I know. I was literally looking for a pen and paper because I'm going to fucking forget. All right, my first thought was when you were talking about how they're physical. And that's a big – actually, I've heard that's a pro for Top Shot is that they're digital and you don't have to fuss with grading. You don't have to worry about, mail, sending back and forth, all these risky things. I think that actually hinders it because one of the things that makes sports cards rare and scarce is that you're physically bound by the rarity of them. Like, it's harder for me to acquire it and get it in a mint condition because of all these different factors. So, like, the more barriers and the harder it is. And this is kind of funny about Card Ladder. We talk about, like, how barriers are positive for us. The barrier that it brings is positive for the hobby. It introduces rarity. It introduces appreciation for it. It takes longer for me to get it. I have the aspect of the mail day. There's this collector to collector relationship that we have when we send things back and forth to digital. There's no emotion. I have it the second I press the button and I sell it the second I press the button. There's no grading. I see that as a negative. Secondly, so the second part is that I get that, like, people are saying that I need to have an open mind and, like, I'm a hater and I just need to research it more. I don't fucking need to do anything. Like, I don't like it. So stop shoving it down my freaking throat. I'm in these sports card forums. I talk about sports cards all day. That's the world that I'm in. I don't understand why I have to defer to some new thing that's made up in my sports card community. The whole point of this, like, internet world and the communities we live in is that I can go into a community that I choose, and that's the only thing I have to focus on. But now that I'm getting bombarded by I'm a hater and I'm an old curmudgeon because I don't understand blockchain, which I do. I'm in the tech industry. I know how it works. That doesn't mean I have to like it. I still think it's fucking stupid because I can't collect it. It doesn't interest me at all. Like, I like watching YouTube clips. I don't like collecting them. It just is what it is. I don't have to like it. And just because I don't like it doesn't mean I'm a hater. I just don't like it. And because I don't like it, I don't want to freaking hear about some dude hyping it on Facebook all day long. And I know these guys are planted from Top Shot because they say the same goddamn scripted things over and over about how it's going to be the next big thing. It's a purely speculative hype fest train of BS, and I'm just not going to be a part of it. And if you told me I could triple my money on it tomorrow, I still wouldn't do it because I have no fun. My life is not filled with money and making money and flipping. It's filled with fun and people that I enjoy. So if you're not going to be bringing me positive stuff about sports cards that I want to read, go to your own Top Shot forum or something. I just don't care anymore.
All right. So we know some very smart and awesome people who like Top Shot and who are bullish on it and who have done well on it. So like, congratulations. That's more power to you. And honestly, from my point of view, I hope it works out wonderfully for you and you guys continue refining and developing the product and the arguments for it. But now, so maybe this can be helpful. Josh, how do you react if someone says sports cards are juvenile, stupid, and a relic from your past? Is it threatening to you? Do you get very defensive over it? Well, how do you react to that?
Not at all. It's like, I like to do things that other people don't like to do, so it kind of makes me like it more. And I know that seems like, oh, then you should like Top Shot because everyone's shitting on it. Well, no, I don't like it because I still think it's dumb.
I don't think people are. I think Top Shot has a lot of momentum. I don't think people are dumping on it all that much. I think on balance, there's more people speaking out enthusiastically about it than the opposite. Like, or at least that's the impression Clubhouse gives. The impression on NBA Hot Shot group is a different one, to be sure.
Which is fine. Again, I'm not shitting on anyone that likes Top Shot. You said the same thing. If you like it and you're making money and you're having fun with it, great. I will not hinder you in that in any way. The issue I have is when you're trying to affect me and trying to tell me what to do back the other way. I'm not telling you to stop doing Top Shot. Stop telling me that I'm a curmudgeon by not doing it. It's like, you can't have it both ways. So like, it needs to be a two-way fair game in that sense. People telling me that sports cards are silly or whatever, sure, okay, I don't care. Like I told you, I don't even watch that content. Like, I'm not even in class. I don't have a fucking iPhone. I don't care. Like, it's just, I don't care about any of that stuff. I really don't. I watch this is my Chipotle thing. I eat my Chipotle. I watch my fucking LeBron games. I am with my family all day. I work on my card ladder. I look at my cards and I do crossover. This is the only exposure I have to this stuff. You guys catch me up. You guys catch me up on the week on what's going on. I just get so much freaking crap during the week about Top Shot that like this is the only time that I'm like, oh my god, will you guys just leave me alone about Top Shot? I don't care. It doesn't fit into my schedule.
Yeah, that's totally fair. So that's my take is to piggyback off what you said. Just if Top Shot was more able to argue for itself on its own merits, as opposed to constantly having to explain why it's just like cards but better.
Thank you.
There would be a much more symbiotic relationship, because I am not upset that people who have and I'm not saying this is all of Top Shot users, but people who have a mentality of like quick flips, get in and get out, make a little bit of money, gamble, speculate. I don't mind those people going to Top Shot. Top Shot might be the better vessel for them. I would start to get worried or feel threatened by Top Shot if like long-term collectors started, migrating over to Top Shot, and then we're at a different point where we have to think about things a little bit differently. But the chat is just killing me today. It's so hard for me to stay on focus right now. All right,
I don't think the egg thing is funny. I'm sorry. I know you guys want me to react to the egg thing. I don't think it's funny. I don't get it. Like, an egg is like the most boring looking food. I guess that's kind of the joke, is it's just so boring.
Well, I think the first time I came into a Clubhouse chat, they were talking about the egg. They're like, Chris, you like the egg? You look a little bit like an egg. I was like, oh, okay. Thanks,
great.
Guys. All right, so
yeah,
okay.
Thanks for the insult.
Yeah, there was a question that said, Christina, this came from CZ Cards. I'm curious because Adam Lefko, who was on Top Shot way before when it was only a fraction of what it is now, he was saying there is potential here, and he convinced us to buy a pack on a show, and we did, and we haven't logged in since. So CZ Card says, I'm curious what the Top Shot moments that you guys opened a few weeks ago are worth now. Have you sold them? No. We just logged in. Has it changed your mind on the overall concept? So what are our moments worth?
All right, so we have the first moment is a Derek Jones out of 12,000.
All right, we have a Derek Jones out of 12,000.
There's 825 available. The lowest price is $40, and the highest price is $250,000
So someone has that.
for the same
Okay.
moment.
All right. So we have. So I think the way that collections are valued in Top Shot is by summing the lowest ask. So we have a $40 look. So our Derek Jones Jr. out of 12,000 has a lowest ask of $40.
All right, we have a Pascal Siakam layup.
All right.
1,000. This one is serial numbered at 15,000.
Okay.
1,074 are available for sale.
1,000 are available for sale.
Yes.
Okay.
The lowest price is $39, and the highest price is $200,000.
Well, that one might be sitting for a little while. The
I think that one's
200,000.
gonna sell first, actually.
Okay.
And
What's
then
it?
the next one is a Denny Avdija.
Yes.
Did I say that right?
I think it's Abdiha, but I'm not quite sure.
Avdija. This is out of 4,000. It's a 3-pointer on.
And it's a rookie.
Yes, and I like this one because it's a 3-pointer on Seth Curry.
Yeah.
He left the Mavs.
Screw Seth Curry.
Exactly. There's 177 of these available.
All right.
The lowest price is $420.
$420.
The highest price is $250. So I'm about to put this one up for like $200. Cash out. And on the top shot for the rest of my life.
Christina's about to tank the market.
Yep. I'm gonna put it up for $40. And look,
40?
I
No.
mean, I only want like $10 back.
No, look. If the lowest ask is 420, then just undercut it a little bit. All right, so there is the answer to that question.
$42?
No, that's a lot of it. You don't sell anything. I'll come over there. All right. After the show. All
Those
right.
are 3 that we opened a few weeks ago.
There's the answer to your question. All right. Has it changed my mind overall? No, but I am taking Top Shot more seriously as a topic of analytical value because there's a market there. All right. We have one more question. Interesting. This comes from Mr. LAGN. Interesting to see Gary V tweeting yesterday that 99% of all NFTs will fail. Do you have any reactions to that?
Yes, it's just like altcoin. Like most of the altcoins failed. BTC is legit. It's an actual, has purpose. The goal of it is real. It's, it's a decentralized form of currency with increased confidence in security of it relative to the US dollar. Altcoins were a way to make money, and most of them flopped. Same thing with NFTs.
Yeah. All right. And that's enough on Top Shot. We put the over-under at 5 minutes. That may have been slightly off.
Eventually the egg will crack.
Egg guys, you have no idea what the outcome of your trolling here. You're welcome, CZ Cards. All right.
Will the Lakers win? Can someone tell me in the chat? You keep going.
They
Chris.
did. Somebody said they went on a 19-4 run,
Someone just tell me the final score.
and then they won. Thank you for looking that up, by the way, Christina. Our Top Shot prices.
Oh, thanks. I feel better.
Anybody? The Lakers score, please. Before my
Go.
all right. Lakers won 102-93.
Excellent. Break the streak.
Very good win for the Lakers, and another brutal loss for the Trailblazers.
Ugh.
All right.
Next question.
Next question. All right. How do I follow that up? So,
Cyberpunks?
we didn't have any question about those.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about those a little?
No, I don't want to talk about those.
Okay,
God
all right.
damn.
All right. This question came from Dormant Stash. Just an educational question that I'll just answer very quickly. Is a BGS 10 more rare than a PSA 10? How would you answer that question?
Yes, it is more rare. It's like the BGS 9.5 is gem mint, PSA 10 is gem mint, and then BGS 10. So like the traditional ranking goes 9.5, then PSA 10, then BGS 10.
I think that's a big reason why PSA is more popular, is that they like the BGS 9.5 being the traditional gem mint isn't a 10. So like there's a lot of people out there, including myself, who just want to see the 10. They don't want the 9.5, even though collectors know a 9.5 to be similar and analogous to a PSA 10. Well, if I had to choose, I'd just take the PSA 10. And I don't care about the rarity of the BGS 10 or the black label as much as just like I want to have like to know that it's gem mint. That's all I care about. And if I had to pick one, I'd take the PSA 10. I don't know. I feel like I'm just simplifying it, but that's kind of the general consensus.
Yeah, thank you, Fraser. And if you'd like to check the numerical pop reports, Beckett publishes its pop reports. You can make a free account to access them. PSA publishes its pop reports as well.
It's really hard to get a BGS 10 because you got to get 3 subgrades of the 10 and the 4th to be a 9.5. PSA 10, it just has to be within the bounds of it. It's not necessarily analogous to a BGS 10. If you crack 10 PSA 10s, you'll probably get 2 or 3 BGS 10s.
Definitely. All right. This question comes from Sweat47. Comment on how to overcome paralysis when it comes to buying at today's prices.
Wow. Well, find something different, because it sounds like the paralysis usually comes in when it's like that there's FOMO around it, and you're like, gosh, I want to buy this because like I feel like everyone else is right and I should have one of these, but like, man, it's really high in price right now. The paralysis to me is usually around that, and there's not as much paralysis around something that you are buying that maybe doesn't have the FOMO around it right now, or that is going through a downturn or isn't super popular. There's not really a paralysis when I'm buying stuff like that necessarily. Now, if it is just paralysis around the overall price, look for something cheaper. Find something a little bit that you enjoy that's cheaper. Not everything has to be expensive, sports cards or anything else like it. So I get the sense, I understand it, because like maybe it is like a PC card that's on your list, right, Chris? Where it's like, this is on my list. I had just so much money. You kind of have to weigh that. I would say maybe like space those paralysis decisions and purchases out so you're not burning yourself out. Maybe like once a year, walk up to that line where it's like, this is the one grail per year that I'm allowed to have, and like I'm allowed to feel nervous and paralyzed about this decision.
Yeah. Good. I would add that or I would ask you yeah, god damn it, I would add as a question to you here, would you say that the pricing of Bitcoin, of Top Shot, of CryptoPunks makes it easier for cards? Yes, he has seen the photo. It's on the about page.
Get the watch. The watch.
My Movado watch.
Well, because he sends me screenshots of Clubhouse when it's like him in the room with the other people, and I just see the Chris photos. Like, what's the question?
So,
does it make me feel better?
Can we feel better about buying cards when we look at the price of some of the other stuff?
Yeah, when I see someone buy a thumbnail of a guy wearing a beanie for $100,000, I feel better about paying $20,000 for like a LeBron card I've wanted for 10 years, for 3 years or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thumbnails that you're referring to are these guys.
I love you, David.
These guys here.
Because like Gary Vee tweeted or something, I don't know if he tweeted or wherever he said it, he was like, cyberpunks are real. It was like,
so what's this worth, Dina? Like ballpark, like this is like worth like $50,000, right?
I don't know. I just assume they're all worth $50,000 now. He's got cool shades, so. Oh, I remember my other point about Top Shot.
Go for it.
The benefit of cards being physical is that, like, I know with 100% certainty that Upper Deck cannot go back in time or cannot, like, create 2003 Upper Deck Exquisite LeBron rookie cards anymore. It's done. It's over. Those 99 cards are done. Nobody can make more. Top Shot could get greedy as fuck and start printing out of 10,000 moments from Michael Jordan's entire career if they felt like it. I'm not sure if Jordan can be on that. I'm not like in the technicalities of Jordan licensing, but maybe they can't do Jordan Top Shots. They could make like 1 million LeBron ones. They could make a highlight of his goddamn assists and fucking, you know, behind the back passes for decades. They could just sit there. They could go reprint rookie year stuff, you know, retroactively and start like creating all kinds of overpopulation and print to the moon. And you tell me like, oh, blockchain is like a tokenized whatever the hell. Yeah, but I can still make infinite versions of them and like make infinite variations and just keep like going. It's easier. It's easier to like make tons of population of something if it's digital. If it's physical, it's harder. There's more barriers. You have to physically print it. You can't go back in time and print something from a previous rookie year. There's all these different things, right?
Yeah, I mean, the tech of that discussion exceeds me. The word blockchain alone.
Well, because it's like, oh, I own this exact token. Only you can't replicate this digital space, but like it's still digital. So I could just create another entire blockchain, and I can create another one. I can design 1 million cyberpunks. I could make my own cyberpunk and print them to 10 million instances in the blockchain. It's still infinite.
All right, good. This comes from Card Stock Markets. Thoughts on the Pokemon market as Logan Paul's break and Pokemon Day is tomorrow. And I'll also note that a Pikachu card set an all-time high it was the first Pokemon card that we tracked that set an all-time high in many months.
The funny thing about those influencers is that like they see these like massive spikes whenever the news of those influencers hit something, and then it always like crashes back down. And Pokemon saw that where it like went way up because Logan Paul started talking about it and went back down. But then what happens is with markets that are true, and I think this of Pokemon, is that eventually they creep back up. And 86 Fleer PSA 10 saw the same thing where like it jumped up because of the dock, then it crashed because supply went up, but then it steadily crept up back to its normal pace because those are actual strong markets. I think Pokemon falls into that same category where like it doesn't really matter too much in the long run what influencers jump in. Gary Vee, Logan Paul, those guys will cause blips, they'll cause spikes, but like in the long run they won't really matter, and you should still enter the market of that kind of stuff just on its own merits and whether you want to or not because it's going to have a documentary coming out or it's going to have a famous guy breaking in. Who gives a shit? Like it's still, the market still needs to stand on its own, and it does.
Terrific point. Here's the Pokemon card that I was talking about. The first edition Red Cheeks set an all-time high yesterday when it sold for 14.5K. You can see the fluctuation a little more dramatically when we shift to a linear scale. Peaked in early October at 10.5. It got as low as, let's see here, 5. It cut in half.
Yeah, there's the Logan Paul peak. There's the post peak, like the Last Dance, and then there's the steady rise after it because it actually is a good market.
Yep. Yep. And this is where, you know, the short term and the scared people, the paper hands, this is where they all drop out.
I mean, dude, like Pokemon has been around since 1995. Yeah, Max will have to help me with that one because he's the goat of like when stuff actually does come out. 95, 96, somewhere around there. I mean, dude, that's like 25 years of history. Freaking makes Top Shot look like a newborn. Pokemon has like a really strong history, and it's like, I think, you know, I always forget this stat because I always butcher it, but it's like the highest grossing entertainment franchise in the world. It's no joke. Pokemon is a real thing with tons of collectors like myself who draw from insane nostalgia of collecting it and playing all the games as a kid. And I have like the sealed Pokemon Yellow Game Boy game because I played that like a ton as a kid. So I have like really strong physical, emotional connections to it.
Yeah. Good point. All right. Mike Pinkerton 50 says, talk about shipping and receiving cards internationally. Seems to be getting more common.
I feel like I answer this once a week. FedEx overnight.
International, even for international.
No, I'm only talking about international.
Okay.
I'm not going to get into the other ones. International, FedEx. There's not really an overnight if you're shipping to China, but FedEx as fast as you can. Adult signature, FedEx. Ask them what's your fastest one. I want that. I mean, we're obviously talking about like, are these international purchases over, $5K? And if it is, FedEx overnight.
There you go.
Overnight big spender.
Let's see here. King's Angels 22 wants to know who has the best hobby content theme music. I love Wax Museum. So maybe, I don't know, do you have an opinion on this? Who has the best theme music in their podcast?
I literally can't think of a single theme song.
You use the
Dun, dun.
the Round Ball Rock by John Tesh.
Yeah, I obviously like mine the best. I chose it.
Have you ever seen John Tesh perform Round Ball Rock?
Do I need to?
Yes.
Just the fact that you say that tells me everything I need to know. Well, hang on here.
4 or 5 years ago, I was trying to write a sports theme, and I did not have a piano in the hotel where I was staying, so I did probably what many of you have done faced with a similar situation. I called my answering machine.
All right, so he tells a little story that he came up with the song by sending him a voicemail of the theme. All right, here we go.
But you're gonna ruin this for me? Where does that go?
So there you go.
It's probably like the most. That's like the most nostalgic, like, audio clip that I could ever conjure up ever. Like, I just hear that song and I'm like, oh my god, I'm picturing myself watching NBC basketball as a kid, just like being so excited. That was pretty interesting, though.
It's worth watching the whole thing. The
I feel like
voice
that's
was really funny too.
what's the video that people used to use to troll people when you send them the clip of Rick Roll?
Rick rolled, yes.
I feel like that's the new Rick Rolled.
I could
Just
see
like
that. That could definitely work. So, I mean, how do you have a better hobby theme song than that? I don't know. It's up on Top Shots.
Someone, I've had a couple people be like, "You're gonna get sued for that," and I'm always like, "Yeah, sure, do it, do it."
Please, John Tesh. John Tesh probably watches Cardboard Chronicles.
I get more viewers by
Indeed.
local man gets sued. That's what I'll put in my video title. That'll get people to click on it. I'll do a picture of me, white outline, pointing to the sky, and be like, "Guy gets sued for making the video of this song."
I don't know. Did anybody in the chat say what theme song they like the best, or from a hot podcast? No, all right.
I like obviously Josh wins hands down
Because of
because
John Tesh.
of the song that it is.
Yeah.
Josh wins hands down, but I like Beckett's Man of Cards or something like that.
Yep.
It's some like old classic rock song.
Yeah. Sounds good.
I like that one.
I agree.
I like when they just have like a nice, simple, like rap intro, and it just sort of like eases you into it. Those are pretty common, I guess.
Yeah.
I also really like, if we're gonna say like who has the best announcer introducing their show, I think SCC definitely wins. Welcome to SCC.
Our announcer definitely keeps it lighthearted and prevents it from being too nerdy, because we don't want to be too nerdy, do we?
My favorite is like you and I will go, or Christina and I will go on like a really long, like well thought out answer to one of your questions, and then you'll be like, Nick, what do you think? He's like, I agree with everything that Josh said, and I'm like, yeah. Every time I'm like, come on, Nick, just say you agree with me. Come on. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Dude, how many egg what are
That's crazy.
they're still going.
Does anyone watch Arrested Development when Michael Cera dates Anne and they like joke about her being an egg? Does anyone know what I'm talking about? That's the only thing I think of when I think of this whole thing is like Arrested Development. He's like, she looks like an egg, or he calls her egg or something as like a playful like nickname. He just calls her egg, and it's like, so now whenever I think of egg, I just think of like really plain and like boring. Someone knows what I'm talking about. I'm not crazy.
Looks like Flippity Flip might.
Egg. Anne. Or no, because like she's so boring that Michael Cera's dad, which is Jason Bateman, he's like the main character of the show. Michael Cera's like introducing his new girlfriend to his dad, Jason Bateman, and he's like, this is my new girlfriend. And he's like, her? That's the whole joke. He's just like, her? She's so like plain and boring that they're always like, what? Her? Yeah, there you go. See? Her? Question mark, question mark. Thank you.
There you go. And Susie Cards is on top of it.
And thank you. Everyone's on top of that one. All right, move on. I'll take a break.
That's
the question.
There's one question for you. For Josh, I'll save.
Okay.
Here's a cool. Goats and Grails says, I'd like to know what are the top 3 cards that Josh, Chris, and Christina would like to add to their PCs. Christina, do you have a top card that you would like to add to your PC?
Yeah, but I don't want to say it.
All right, well, I can say mine while you think about whether or not you want to say yours, because mine is really easy. I'm never going to get these cards. Card 1 is the Michael Jordan PMG Green. Card 2 is the 2018 Prism Luka Nebula. And card 3, take your choice, any of the 1-on-1 Masterpiece Jordans, probably the 98-99 PMG Masterpiece would
Jeez,
be
man.
the third.
Give yourself some higher goals. My God.
Trying to keep things realistic here. What's your card?
Seriously.
Do you want to say yours or not?
I don't, because it's up for auction right now.
It's up for auction right now. You have damn.
Is it a Tim Tebow card?
What card is it? What card is it?
It's not on eBay.
Oh.
You know which one I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, you cannot say that one.
Yeah.
All right.
Mine is a 2008 limited logos LeBron. It's horizontal. I've always wanted one. That's probably the only card right now. If it came up, available, I'd jump out of my seat and do whatever I had to do to get it. I never see them. I know someone that has one with like a C patch on it. I'm just like, ugh.
I have one. There's a Maxi Kleba Spectra Nebula 1-of-1 rookie autograph. And he didn't have a lot of rookie cards, so I'm like trying to collect all of them. And that would be like the card that I think if I could get my hands on, I would pay handsomely for.
Okay.
Yeah, Carvin said exquisite. Yes. The more that people jump into this space and they push Prism and Top Shots and stuff onto me, the more I'm like, man, I love exquisite. Like, you just can't recreate that, like you can't, there it is. Oh my God. Oh, Whew. That's the one, my friend. Look at that thing. Yeah. You can't
This is
you
the
can't
maxi, but that's
Okay, hold on. We'll get to it. Somebody was talking.
I was just saying that you can't like recreate that time in history where they created Exquisite from 2003 to 2009. Like you can't just go make a clip about it. You can't recreate that collectible through Flawless. Like it's just like never going to be done again. So like to have that little window of history is cool to me.
It is cool. And one of my favorite parts about being on Clubhouse, which I think you should join, is Carvin is on there. And being able to... Dude, Carvin talked to a Steve Nash super collector for like 3 hours the other night. And I just sat there with my microphone on mute just listening. The stories, the history, the background, it was... it really reminds me of like being at a show. And... it's special. When stuff like that happens, it's pretty awesome.
Lester is a clever motherfucker.
What do you say this time?
He's just like he's quick on his toes with the comments. He's very clever. I just had that very nice, thoughtful thing about Exquisite, and he was like, "That'd be a dope NFT." You know how like TNT always has the best timing on when they post like the Twitter messages from people like that are relevant to what they're talking about, and they're always just like really clever and funny, and that's usually making fun of Charles or something. I feel like he's gained a lot, and he's learned a lot from those
That
Twitter
was his
drops.
training grounds, in other
And
words.
he's been training for these moments to drop the very clever, timely posts in these chats. So kudos.
Kudos. So this was the card that Christina was highlighting, the Maxi Kleba Spectra Rising Stars. It has a 1/1. That's what it has a Nebula 1/1 that she is seeking. So if anybody out there has that, you have an interested buyer over here. These are nice cards.
Chris, exquisite.
Exquisite. Yeah, I mean, we all saw that one coming, guys.
But if anyone can you put that picture up again of the 08 LeBron? If anyone sees that one, let me know. That's definitely one that I'd go out of my way to get. That's a sick card. So nice.
Yeah, I had to go to Google to find an image of that card.
23 copies. They're hard to find, man. I know 3 people that have one, 4 people that have one, and you know. What are those called, Adam? When you guys post the timely Twitter drops, is there like a cool nickname or something? Find a moment. That's the trick when you're watching the show. Find a moment early in the first segment, tweet something funny. Dude, they're always really good. You guys definitely, whoever picks them almost does a better job than the person tweeting it, because it's like you have to pick the perfect one.
And the edits that they make on stuff, and yeah, it's well done.
And then like I always feel like Shaq and Barkley don't like 100% get it. And I guess that's what's kind of funny about it. They like genuinely don't understand the irony of a lot of them, or like that they're not like they don't understand them. So it's funnier to see them react and get mad about it.
Yes. All right. Okay. Good. That was a card. We just named cards. Card Insights 2 says Zion on the rise. Do you have any thoughts on this?
As a player?
Well, I don't know. Take it whichever way you want. It just says Zion on the rise.
I think his game is not good for Hobby Love. Like he's just like close to the basket, high percentage shooter just because he's like always around the rim. He's not dunking as much as he was last year. He's not having the big highlights like we're used to. I don't know. He's like moving into that. He's just like, Karl Malone or something. Like he's kind of just a power forward. He's not going to ever he's not going to shoot threes and kind of wow you with the splashy plays. But he's definitely like super athletic. He makes big plays still, obviously, but just not as much as maybe we were hoping for the hobby. I think he's just a good basketball player. He's still incredibly young. He's very efficient. He's a good player. I hope he continues to grow and get better at basketball. And, the hobby will make its own decision on what they think of him, because we know the hobby can be kind of brutal. to really strong individual players. You know what I mean? Like the history has not been kind to a lot of guys who are great basketball players. I'm thinking like Jokic and Embiid, who are like these guys are amazing players, but they just don't get the hobby love because of their style. And I worry a little bit that like people have put so much money into Zion, thinking he's going to be this like high flying, traditional wing that gets a ton of hobby, flashy love, and he might be molding more into the like power forward, big man type of role. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. And I would like to so somebody I noticed was talking about Zion's 3-point percentage this year. And I just want to give the facts. It is 31.6% on 19 shots. He averages 0.6 attempts per game. He has made 6 3-pointers this year.
Did he make like 4 in that first game?
That's correct. In his first season, he made 4 3-pointers in one game. He made 6 for the totality of that season. Zion has made 12 3-pointers over the course of his career.
12?
12.
That's okay. It's not Ben Simmons, so.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket. God damn it. You guys fucking on tonight. Yeah, what do you think about Zion? Were you kind of thinking the same thing I was, or?
Yeah, I'm very much aligned with you. I think Zion is a terrific basketball player. I think he has there's certain offensive players in this league based on the combination of the rules and their unique talents and skills that will be unstoppable on offense when they get to do what they want to do. Zion is one of them. He can be Giannis is one of them, LeBron is one of them, Trae Young is one of them, Luka is one of them, Anthony Davis is one of them, Jokic is one of them, Embiid is one of them, Kevin Durant, James Harden. There are offensive players in this league because of the rules and because of their skill sets, the combination of those two, they can score at will when things are clicking for them. Zion is one of those players.
Dude, Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just thinking, you just rattled. Dude, the NBA is freaking loaded with talent.
Yes,
and it's so exciting that, like, Zion is, like, the 18th best player in the NBA. And I feel like if you drop him in an era 15 years ago, he would have been, like, the 4th best player. But this year, he's, like, the 18th best player because the NBA is freaking loaded with talent. And the NBA is wide open this year. Tell me one of those teams that doesn't have a shot to win the NBA title. I can name 7 teams. It's just like completely wide open. It's not only wide open in like who can win the championship, but also who can like capture the attention of the hobby. Like any of these guys could.
Yes. Yeah. And other thoughts on Zion. His defense leaves quite a bit to be desired. And that's a big letdown because athletically, he has the tools one would think to be a much better defender, but he's not a good defender right now. This is what the smart basketball people say, and this is what I see when I watch him as well.
Off the dribble or like in the post?
Both.
Because he's like too short in the post and too slow on the dribble.
I don't even know why. It may just be a question of energy conservation and effort.
Karl Malone had my favorite quote of the year. You saw that? You know what I'm talking about?
No. What did he say?
I don't want to like shit on Zion too much, but it was like basically to the effect of Karl Malone saying like, if I was as young as Zion is, I'd be playing all the minutes I can. You can't be tired out there. He's what, like 19 or 20? Can't be tired. So like to hear you say conservation is like, come on, man.
Yeah.
You should be like a young buck out there playing as many minutes as you can.
Yeah, and so the good news there is that if it is a question of conditioning or energy or effort, that those are the most easily fixed things. So he could become a very good defensive player quickly. But offensively, he's He's
good.
terrific.
I don't know a lot. I don't know a lot about diets because I basically only eat Chipotle, but I do pay attention to Chris Paul a lot this year, and he's been talking a lot about this. It's like basically a vegan diet. Like he's a plant-based diet. He's only eating very specific foods. He's not eating meat. And he said like Chris Paul, has had like pretty decent injury history, and he's like potentially has missed out on a finals/championship appearance in that year that he missed the Warriors game. And he always is like, as a Suns fan, I've been listening to Chris Paul more, and he talks about that year a lot and how he regrets not having a better diet. He feels like maybe that would have helped him in those years. And now that he is on this plant-based diet, he's basically like saying how he's in complete control over his body now. Like he understands every aspect of it. He's never felt better. And I wonder, and obviously LeBron is in that kind of realm where like every minor micro decision is dictated by like his health and his longevity. Tom Brady, like some of these all-time legends. And I just wonder like if Zion ever gets into one of those types of trainings where it could really take him to the next level. I don't know enough about that stuff, but so I don't want to just speculate, but maybe there's something to that.
Yeah, that would be very wise, I think, for all young players to get on that level sooner than later. But it takes a lot of maturity, a lot of discipline, and it's not as easy as just resolving oneself to do it. You suffer quite a bit. You give up a lot of luxuries,
Sure.
And young people don't feel the impulse to need to do that because the difference that it makes is smaller when they're younger. But it pays long dividends. So I pulled up Zion's Prism base chart.
Damn.
That's for this card. And
Damn,
let's look at 6 months. So the card spiked right before the season started. The season started around December 25th. The card went over $1,000 on December 22nd. The card is currently selling for about $600. So that's the state of things with the Zion card market. The population is 15,736.
Yeah, I think he's an interesting prospect long term. I don't have much Zion, so I guess that's lets you know what I think about it.
Yeah. Someone mentioned, I think it was SVA mentioned in the chat that the Pelicans and Zion is, at least the short-term card prices are probably going to depend on playoffs, whether or not the Pelicans get into playoffs.
Are they out of the playoff picture right now?
Oh, they're way out of it.
Yeah, that's disappointing, man, because it's like you got two top players. Why are they so far out?
Yeah. Okay.
They got Lonzo Ball. What the fuck?
All right, so they're only one seed away from the playing game right now. They're pretty even with the with the Thunder. 14, 18, 14, and 19.
I can't even name three players on the Thunder team. Come on.
Yeah. But they're doing better. And Zion is looking like great lately. So
yeah, I mean they're young, obviously, but like it's a little disappointing. Ingram's been in the league for a few years. I feel like they should be better, but we'll see.
Yeah.
The Spurs, how the heck are the Spurs doing that? They're like,
yeah. Well, they're only 16-12, so
sure, but like I just felt like they were going to be one of the worst teams in the West, and of course, they just always find a way.
Yes, they do. And
there's another team. God, they have like the worst team analytically on the court ever. DeRozan and Aldridge and a bunch of mid-range jump shooting guys.
Yeah. Yep. So, all right. MXP Fernandez would like to know, why are Ben Simmons cards not rising in value despite 3 consecutive All-Star selections?
I kind of a similar take here as I did on Zion. Like, his game just isn't hobby conducive. Like, it's just not as flashy or as all-encompassing as people would like for the hobby. It's just like he's not like a traditional wing where he just kind of does a little bit of everything. He's just like he's a good passer, good defender, good rebounder, but it's just like the scoring isn't there, the shooting isn't there, and those are kind of the 2 flashiest things you can do, I guess. I mean, those don't reflect how I feel about Ben Simmons as an actual player. It's just kind of like the reality of how the hobby works. I think he's a great player. It's frustrating that he still isn't shooting the ball. I'll say that.
Good points. Agreed. Nice Looking Cardboard wants to know, what are your thoughts about doing a live crossover during the current Golden auction next weekend?
Yeah, we should. We really should. Dude, we have to, actually. I changed my mind. Fucking, there's so many big cards.
There's so many good cards, but the extended bidding.
Could make for a really late night.
Exactly. So as long as we like put a limit on it and we say, we'll
We
look
could
at it.
start we could start the show like right when the extended bidding starts. Then it's limited to 4 hours. God, yeah.
So we might not stay the whole time, but
And we are just like the other thing is like we won't be able to keep up with everything. Like people will be yelling at us. There's so many fucking cards, dude. How is any human supposed to keep up with all that? You're
that's a
like,
good question.
that's why there's gonna be steals because like you just can't keep up with all of it.
Let's look at the state of this auction right now briefly. Just the big ticket items. So
Okay.
the Mantle PSA 8, and remember, Golden does not tell you the real price that the buyer will pay. This is the price pre-buyer's premium. Buyer's premium is somewhere between 20 and 23% depending upon payment method. So 20% of 1 million is 200,000. So this card is really at about 1.3 million. Just keep that in mind, all right? So the Mantle is in first. The Mantle PSA 8 on bids. Kobe Black Label is also over $1 million pre-BP. The LeBron 1 of 1 is over $1 million, and when you take into consideration BP, the RPA is over $1 million when you take into consideration BP. Then we get to the Clemente, the 51 Bowman Mantle. Wow, it's a good price for that one. The Jackie.
Put your hand on the screen.
MJ Fleers have been stuck at 425 and 450 for a while, but remember after BP, you're looking at pretty big dollar amounts there. Both are over $500,000. The Luke RPA has been sitting there for a while. Oh, this is interesting. The Star 101 Flight School autograph Jordan is at $300K. BGS 9.
What?
That's a huge price.
Nick Gugliano, you're rich.
The LeBron refractor, a BGS 9.5 sold for $84,000 last night on eBay. Not through a big auction house. Here's a PSA 10 that's at about 240, 250 after BP. Yeah. So
I'm obviously like, yeah, go ahead.
MJ Lake PSA 10 is at 150. All right.
I'm obviously like a massive homer because I have a finest gold LeBron, but I just can't believe that like the PSA 10 high print stuff is so much higher in value than the finest gold. But it is what it is.
So the finest gold 8.5 is at 120 pre BP right now. So this doesn't mean that this is the this, but for the sake of the audience, this does not mean this is the ranking or the hierarchy in which these items will end at.
Sure, yeah. There's always been this notion that like the collector type cards that people really, really, really want, and they're not trying to inflate. They wait to the very last minute to bid, and that's when like the real collector type cards triple and quadruple in value in the last minute. And I feel like a few of those fall into that category, and we'll see. But it seems like the cards that have high population, people try to bid them up to their current market value immediately, and the cards that people want to win last second. All right, it's time to duke it out. We'll see.
Yep, because people do cost averaging and stuff like that on higher pop cards they might already own.
Totally. Like, let me just get this to the floor so I know I didn't lose money, and if I win, I'll pay it, kind of thing.
Exactly. Well, we had one last comment. This is from Say Hey Cards. He says, save this for hour 3.
We did it. We got through all of them.
We are indeed in hour 3. That thankfully people consolidated a lot of their questions onto the same topics, so we were able to knock out like 20 questions on 2 topics.
Yeah, like Top Shot was like 17 questions probably.
Yeah, there was a lot. He says, hour 3, can we stop pretending Justin Timberlake is a good actor?
Whoa.
Hold on.
James.
Christina,
Whoa.
are you standing yet? Christina, this is fucking bullshit.
I'm like incapable of words at the moment. James, you
That's
know
a
what?
first.
Like, I'm gonna have words, James. That's the second time. But second.
What are your words? What do you think about this?
I think James and I are gonna have words off air.
Yeah, that's
Wow. So it's that serious?
I mean,
Yeah.
everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Josh might
Oh.
not like Taylor Swift.
No, that was mean, and that was just not cool, James. If this was dodgeball, that would be a warning. That's a warning.
Nice.
bullshit.
Oh, the egg jokes are still coming. Well
How?
done. Well done.
What did he say?
He said Justin Timberlake seems like a pretty good egg.
He's a fantastic actor. So, you know what?
Yeah.
Just- What's that movie with that guy? You know what I'm talking about?
Which movie?
Every movie that he's in.
Alpha Dog.
What's
Very good in
the
that.
one with Mila Kunis?
Just Friends? No, Friends with Benefits?
Yes, that's a great movie.
There you go.
There's also
Bad
a movie where he, like,
Sounds like a rom-com, but
it is.
okay.
There's the baseball movie.
The baseball.
Like, there's a baseball scout, and he's in that movie. Like,
Oh, Moneyball? Is he in Moneyball?
no.
That's Jonah Hill. How could you confuse Jonah Hill with the spectacularly talented Justin Timberlake? You fool.
He was also in Model Behavior, which was his first acting debut. It was a ABC Family, like, movie, and it was awesome.
Okay. Started off.
Eastwood is the baseball
Yes.
scout movie.
And he was also in Trolls. He's the main guy.
Need I say more?
No. Sorry, James. Gonna have to come back with a rebuttal, man.
Tomorrow is vacuum day here at the house, and I always get my headphones out for vacuuming, and you can bet your ass it's going to be JT tomorrow.
Tell the people what you were doing before we got on, if you would like.
I was listening to little T.I. to prepare for my Top Shot rant, a little Be Easy.
Yeah, it was tough talking about Top Shot because we have opinions, but we don't want to, say anything inaccurate, and we want to be respectful of people who like Top Shot and who seriously, are about it. So it's a tough topic.
Wait. Go back to Justin Timberlake. Josh, did you know that Justin Timberlake wrote an episode of Grey's Anatomy?
I believe it. I believe
That's
anything he does,
definitely
I believe
a
it.
different Justin Timberlake.
And yet it's under Justin Timberlake's IMDb.
Yeah, that's a
It's definitely not. No, he could do anything. How dare you question him? He probably He probably is like a world famous chef for all I know. Like he's probably fucking good at that too.
Could he compose Round Ball Rock by
Probably.
putting it on his answering machine? Okay, if he could do that, he might win me over.
He might win you over. He might win you over. What does this guy have to do?
It's
What does he
writing
get to
the
do?
song credits, guys. Let me correct myself.
Okay,
That's what it is.
because I was about to say, he's
Dude.
not writing scripts of Grey's Anatomy.
I didn't think so, but you don't know.
What is this guy?
That's-
God?
I know why you don't like him.
Why?
Because his hair's too good. You're jealous.
Yeah, that's issue number one.
LeBron and Jordan are more your style. Like they just clearly don't have the good hair. You know?
Yes. I do like Justin Timberlake, by the way. I have nothing against Justin Timberlake. But yeah, Top Shot. All right, here's an interesting question here to wrap us up. What will be the state of Top Shot hype? How many questions will we get on Top Shot 1 week from now when we do next week's crossover?
1 week. That's kind of a short window. I mean, probably less. I mean, it'll go through its ups and downs. Like it'll have another hype session in the future, and it'll have some downs. And I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I know what my opinion on it is, but I don't want to try to shit on the community. But I feel like it's going to be a fad. Maybe I'm wrong. Because the more that people have to convince me that this is here to stay and this is the long haul and I'm holding this stuff, you know, and people are going to, just the beginning, it's the first inning, all this crap. The more that you have to convince me of that, the more I'm like, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. And in the meantime, you know, we'll keep an eye on it. And
Oh, no, you will keep an eye on it. I will
Yeah.
not.
I will. We'll see. I mean, things stop being new after a while.
Sure.
And they have to endure for some other reason than novelty.
Just ask people that have hyped Giannis the last 2 years how that's going. He's not being hyped at all right now. He's super quiet.
It is very quiet on the Giannis frontier.
And it's not anything against him as a player or person. He's progressing. You know, he's still around. He's still doing the same stuff. He's still dominating. But, you know, people move on. They get bored.
People do move on. True Giannis fans, you know, this is what happens with lots of prospects. But true Giannis fans, you should be enjoying this tremendously.
Yeah.
The guy is having yet another great year. The team is above 500, but they're struggling a little bit. But they move pieces around too, and it's a weird season, so it's going to take time. He's just a spectacle to watch every night. He outplayed Zion last night and got the win, and he put up like 38 points and 10 rebounds and 5 assists. Just a freakish stat line. This is as good as it gets player collecting. You get to watch a guy who's an absolute monster play basketball every other night and kick ass.
It's happening with Luka a little bit this year. Like you even touched on it earlier, where like guys in your Luka chat are fizzling out and they're talking about probably Top Shot bullshit or other players, and it's like, this is a Luka chat. If you don't like collecting Luka, well, then go find another stupid hype FOMO chat. Like this is for Luka collectors, you know?
Half the chat has moved on.
Thank you.
To what? To what?
So the NT RPA that's on Golden right now, the PSA 10, that belongs to somebody in the chat. And he and I were getting a little bit contentious from time to time because I'm like watching Mavs games and I'm typing in there. I'm like, man, this was great. If the Mavs do this and this, you know, they can be better. But he's just like, Mavs suck. I'm betting against them every night.
Because he's selling the card.
Well, no.
Like,
Well, before now that the card's at auction, he's chill. But before he put the card at auction, he was getting very, very stressed. I think maybe I'm wrong, but I felt like he was getting very stressed during games.
Dude, 20 years old. Just calm the fuck down.
Yes. Yeah, and then there's the other interesting dynamic, but now he's much more chill, that he's not so worried about his card value, but then there's also and now he's got like John Elway PSA 10, Ricky Henderson. He's got like this vintage goats collection now, and which is cool. It's a cool PC. And then there's other guys who have moved on, and they just linger and wait to relish in bad games or bad.
What?
It's a very weird chat. It's
Boot those guys. You're the mod of this group, right? Boot them.
I'm so weak about that. I probably do need to clean house.
I don't even go in there. Like, I go in there, and like every time I'm in there, they're not talking about Luka, and I'm like, peace. Like, I don't even say anything.
It
like,
is a chat of generic interest, and there's like 7 or 6 of us who like religiously follow the news and the stats, and we know who's playing.
Totally.
But
Collectors.
Yes, hardcore obsessives, weirdos, losers,
Yeah,
nerds, big time nerds.
If you're giving up on a guy, how old is he? Christina, is he 21?
He turns 22 in a few days.
He'll be 22. No, he just turned 22.
He turned 22. Okay.
If you're giving up on a 22-year-old kid because your card prices haven't tripled in the last month, like, get out of here.
Yes, that's what's happening. That's
Get out of
completely.
here.
I know. I mean, dude, I love watching that kid play every other night. I'm in bliss. I love it. I love having an active player to watch. So
I wouldn't give to relive those early 20s as a LeBron fan, to watch LeBron in the early 20s, knowing what's coming. Just freaking enjoy it, man. If you're not gonna enjoy it, get out of here. It's like to say, like, oh, I need to be more inclusive of Top Shot fans, and I need to like be accepting of all. Like, if I don't care about what you're producing, what you're talking about, then I just, like, I'm not going to pay attention to it. And if you're going to be in my chat about Luka and you're not going to be talking about Luka in a positive light, get out of here.
yeah, that's the way I feel. I don't mind having a few skeptics, because it I don't know, it makes things more interesting. But dude, on the topic of LeBron, yes,
Yeah.
LeBron already has done a lot, but he still has 5, 6, 7 years, I would think, of high level relevance and competing.
It's not the same because he's like, I mean, I've watched pretty much every game he's ever played, and those early Cavs years, man, dude, he was like, it was like watching lightning. You know what I mean? Like, he was just so goddamn quick. He'd get to the rim so fast, and then he would just like do these quick little step back jumpers, and it's just like everything was so quick. And now, you know, he says it's because it's like more his style of game now, where he's more methodical. But it's like, he's older. He's just a little bit slower. He's not as lightning quick, so he kind of has to like adjust to his game. And man, I would love to watch a quick, spry, lightning quick LeBron again. Because, dude, like, you know that dunk that he had on KG where Kevin, what's his name? The announcer. He's like, there's no regard for human life. You know what I'm talking about? Like, he's not doing any of that type of stuff anymore, but I love to go back and watch those clips where he's just like one-handed dunking over KG on a flyby dunk. It's like, that stuff's not happening anymore.
True, but he has added an 18 to 20 foot fadeaway.
Sure.
That doesn't even touch the rim. That I like that more personally, just because my style. I would rather watch him make 5 of those a game, because that's more impressive to me than the high flying dunks. That's just me. But you know, there's a lot to enjoy in his game right now that wasn't in his game in the beginning as well. There's new stuff as well as stuff missing.
Yeah, I guess it's like one of those things where you always like miss what you don't have anymore. Like if I was watching him as a young player today, I'd be like, man, I wish he was winning more, and I wish he had like a more methodical game, you know.
Yes, and then you get it, and you're like, oh, I wish, yeah.
That's why 2013 LeBron is just peak everything. It's just like he's coming off his first finals win, so he has like the confidence. He's like 29, so he has the athleticism. It's just like peak, and he wins the MVP that year because he just like rolls through the league. 2013 LeBron is like a little bit of everything,
Definitely.
which is interesting because like his cards from those years kind of suck. His actual best years as a player and his Heat affiliation is going to be his like least popular, I would say. You know, because he started with the Cavs. The Lakers are a more popular franchise, but the Heat is where he had the most peak performance and the most championships. Like, it's just like the peak of him. So it's kind of interesting to think about like that.
You just made me want to get like a 2013 card.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he was so good that year. All those games were so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, shout
I
out to
miss
Carvin
Carvin.
for riding with us for like 3 hours. When you could have been on Clubhouse, bro. I know it. So
Tell me about Clubhouse just a little bit. I don't know. I really haven't talked to you about it much. Just maybe give the folks who have Android phones a little taste.
yeah, the best version of it is that it's like being at a card show. And you have a room of 5 to 8 people. And then you can have audience too. That's fine. People want to be an audience. But you have a room of 5 to 8 people. They're all hobbyists. And they're all talking about stuff that's card related. Maybe, it's somebody asking Carvin about the inspiration behind exquisite designs. Maybe it's some guy explaining to me why Damian Lillard's flawless auto is such like a key card. Maybe it's, guys talking about a freaking egg. I don't know. But no, this is not Android only. This is iPhone. So this is iPhone only for right now. But the best case scenario for Clubhouse is you get some people who know about the hobby who just kind of start talking about sports and talking about cards that they like, talking about history, and it can get really interesting and awesome. And people are very supportive. People are very, very supportive of each other on there. It's good vibes. There can also be good debates. iPad works, so that's good to know that iPad works. Adam says to buy the Levine before the LeBron. I don't think I can at this point. I've outed myself on that, Adam. But yeah, I think Clubhouse is totally worth getting. And I don't know. It's the closest thing to being at a trade night. Is just being able to sit in that chat. I like to be quiet when I'm at shows at trade nights. I just like to be quiet and listen to people. It's the closest thing to be able to be. And there's like some cool people on there. There's a guy who worked at Upper Deck named Tony for a long
Seem like
time. Yeah, there's lots of interesting people on there. So
you get like invited into like people see that you're in the room like, oh, Chris is here, and do they like pull you into the stage and then ask you to talk or?
Yeah, and plus, because I've been on there for a little while, like I'm already, I don't know why or how, because I don't moderate anything, but I've been made a moderator. Yeah, they see the picture and they're like, okay, this guy means business.
Yeah.
So I'm like a moderator on there, and so that automatically puts me on the stage since I got made a moderator. So if you came on, I would make you a moderator, and then you can just automatically go up there. But okay, so Carvin's or it's like a seminar. So that's Clubhouse at its worst. Is when it's like 10 blowhards, all waiting and fighting to talk, and like someone might be making a great point, and this other guy jumps in and like cuts them off. Like I'm throwing my pen. I'm so upset when this happens.
Oh man.
Yeah, so it can get ugly. It can get not ugly, but it can get annoying too. And it's like I don't want to listen to you, guy. The same guy's been talking for 10 minutes about nothing. Like. Let somebody else go.
Can people on the outside like comment and be like, yo, shut up, let this other dude talk?
There's no chat. There's no chat function at all. It's only
You just only listen.
Yep.
Damn. Android user over here, right, Yamwax? I'm just like, tell me more about this Clubhouse. I don't know anything about it. I don't even know what it is. I just see screenshots of people. How is it not on Android yet? I mean, I don't want to brag or anything, but like Card Ladder's on both platforms, and
That's right.
come on.
That's exactly right. Yep.
I don't want to throw eggs on this, but it wasn't me. Sniper Vooch gets credit for that, not me. Dude, I'm getting a little bit of FOMO only because you're in there. If you weren't in there, I just wouldn't. I probably would just be like, I love not being in this. But
No, I'd be cool if you were on there, but I also know that you will hate it.
why? What do you mean?
Well, when it's at its best, you would love it. But when it's at its worst, it's really annoying. You know, like I've been in rooms where for an hour, it's nothing but Top Shot hype, then hyping, you know, soccer cards. When it's at its worst, it's really at its worst.
What is that? What does it look like? The hyping? You mean like this is what I messaged you the other day? Is like people are hyping because it's not in person, and it's really hard to like hype in person because people see you and they're like, what? You know, like you get that immediate like visual reaction to your cringiness when you start hyping stuff. Is it easier? Is it people are still hyping on that? How?
Yeah, they do because it's just a group of hypers. So they all just feed off of each other. And rooms can evolve into talking about all types of stuff and, you know, people making very bold statements like this card is going up and this and that card and the other card. And I want to acknowledge Doobie Collects. Thank you for putting me on to Clubhouse. I was glad you reached out and talked me into getting on there because, you know, I don't know, I have like 250 people on there now and met some good people on there. People are very supportive of Card Ladder on Clubhouse, which is pretty damn awesome too. If I come into a room and somebody doesn't know who I am, they look at my profile and they say, "Oh, you're with Card Ladder? Yeah, talk about Card Ladder," and then I will. So.
Oh, I bet you will. I bet you go on like 6-minute diatribes about it too.
At least. Whenever I put on Clubhouse too, Christina's like, "Yeah, I'm leaving." I'm like, "Are you leaving because of Clubhouse?" She's like, "No, I just felt like going upstairs."
Here's my impression of Chris explaining Card Ladder. Integrity. Transparency. These are the things that we live by here at Card Ladder, and we have the utmost respect for the way that data is represented, and it tells the story of the hobby. The impression of me is pretty easy. You just start like cursing and drinking and saying whatever the first thing comes to mind.
Yeah.
If you don't like a good impression of yourself, you're just not living.
No, you have to. You have to enjoy that. Yeah, egg cards. The egg cards.
Really hard. No, I was gonna say it's really hard to do an impression of Chris because I can't speak in that high lexicon. You know, like I can't find the words to do it.
Can't rattle off the BS like I can.
Oh, I can't find those big boy words. It's really tough.
What's up, Merge with George? Yes, I am. Thank you for acknowledging that, Carvin. I am quiet most of the time because I would prefer to listen. You know, there's a lot of people worth listening to in there.
I didn't believe you, but maybe I'll believe you now.
Do I need to pin this? Pin that comment for posterity.
At the end of your Top Shot thing, I was really itching to get in there because I just had like 3 at the top of my mind, and I was like, I'm gonna forget these.
Damn, yeah, I know. I was freaking wrong.
I got them though.
Okay, good.
Well, I do this thing now where when someone else is talking, I really hate when I'm talking and I can tell they're not listening and they're just waiting to say their thing, you know? Like I have a massive pet peeve about that, so I consciously try not to do that to other people as much as I can. So
It's admirable. That's an admirable way to be, because that is like how we work as human beings. It's like as soon as we get something trigger off what somebody else says, it just becomes a battle to make sure we don't forget it until it's our time to talk.
Or just like, the need to like one up each other in a conversation when if you're truly friends and it's like an equal playing field, that doesn't need to happen.
Totally agreed.
Right, Christina?
Yeah.
She's still here. She's still with us.
Adding cards.
I am actually.
Yep. Friday nights is the one night right now where because she's focused on other crap. But Friday nights she comes through with the card ads. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into that time. Shout out to the 54 strong ones.
Dropping like flies.
I don't know. We've been 50 to 60 for a little while. Thank you for saying that. Hard to find sports cards. Appreciate it.
This is my favorite
Oh.
podcast.
Christina's a captive audience for it as well.
Do we need intro music for this shit?
Should we just play John Tesh?
Either that or be easy.
Yeah, that's a
Justin
better choice.
Timberlake.
Ooh, yeah, maybe some suggestions here should roll through. What should be our intro song for the show? JT is a good one, obviously.
We could do Cry Me a River because we probably piss a lot of people off.
Oh, I love that song. His first like 3 albums are just
Man, you guys are going hard. You guys didn't mind all that Top Shot talk too much, did you? Because we needed
There's a
to
couple-
say it. It needed to be said. We're not going to talk about Top Shot for 30 minutes every week.
there's a couple people that are like, stop talking about it. Which
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I wish I could.
Rodman sent a message that said change topic like 10 minutes into it.
He was the one that started, and I'm glad he did this on one of the Facebook posts. He was the first one that I saw that was like, "Bro, can you stop talking about this? This is a sports card Facebook group. Stop. Go away." And it was this, and then the guy that replied was like, "Oh, we can talk about whatever we want, blah blah blah." And it's a lot of people are doing it, and I was like, "Yeah, but it seems to be that it's you, the one starting these little diversions every single time."
Yep, I don't think it's too much to ask. When Robin said, "Hey, let's keep it to cards," I think that's a reasonable request for that group.
I think maybe people see like hot spot and they're like, that's pretty close to the word Top Shot. I feel like
Yes.
I feel like I can talk about whatever I want in this channel, including my hype beast. Is there anyone that's talked about Top Shot that wasn't the tone of hype beast?
Not
Ever.
many. Not many. That's why I give Lefko credit and Carbon credit, because even though they're more amenable to Top Shot than, say, we are, they will point out the risks, the weaknesses, as much as the strengths, just like we do with cards. We do that with cards every week. We talk about things we worry about, and they do that with Top Shot. So, like, but I go into rooms on Clubhouse, and, like, people are like, it's like they're almost in the Top Shot cult or something.
I guess what I'm getting at is that I haven't seen or heard of a single person be like, I finally got that rare moment that I've been waiting for, and I pulled it, like my ultimate pull, and I finally own it. It's just all been like trying to convince everyone that it's a great investment. You know what I mean?
Yes,
It's
I do.
which is very Ponzi schemey in nature.
Yeah, yes, it is. You want there to be some inherent collectability to the items. For there to be, for a person like me to see the long-term viability.
We don't collect cards because they're investments that they're collecting. We collect the investments because they're cards that we like. Right?
There you go, nailed it.
Try to butcher it as much as you possibly can. It comes out really funny. Dude, it's just
Like
like
we just gave up on getting it right, so we're just like,
I'm like actively trying to butcher it as much as possible. It just comes out. Dude, people are talking about cilantro rice right now. You guys are getting me to get some Chipotle tomorrow.
we
Wanna
should
hear
get some
something funny?
Chipotle tomorrow too.
You guys get it a lot?
I made fajitas tonight.
Yeah, they were very good. They're very good. We get Chipotle maybe once every month or two.
What the fuck? You're fired.
Is that how often do you have Chipotle? Every week?
Yeah,
Convince
at least once a
wife
week. Yeah.
once a week.
Right. Okay.
least
Yeah, that's
once a
right.
week.
That's right.
Sometimes twice a week. Like this is no joke. My wife and I are looking at houses. We might be like getting a new house in the near year or so. I'm not kidding you. The first question I ask, can you guess?
Where's the nearest Chipotle?
How far is
Correct.
Chipotle?
It's not a joke. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not doing that to be funny or
You should
that's just the
open
first
a
thing.
Chipotle location, and then you could come in and just like get free Chipotle.
Because there's this area that we're looking and there's one Chipotle sort of like central to that area. So I'm like, that whole area is just open. Like like whatever you want to look at, we'll look at homes in the area because I know where that one is, and we're good.
Right on. My top Chipotle streak was 50 days.
Without getting it.
Bro?
The good question is that you ate it every day in a row for 50 days, or you went 50 days without eating it?
I really hope this is the latter. Even I'm like, whoa. If there's not thank you, Sniper. If there's not a Chipotle within 15 minutes, what are we doing here? That's my question. Like, if it's 20 minutes away, I'm like, gotta DoorDash it, I guess, or I don't know. This sucks.
Yamwax is saying he had it for 50 days in a row, work days, burrito bowls.
Dude, my man. Dude, I always knew I liked Yamwax. That's what I'm talking about.
That deserves a plaque or some form of recognition.
Chipotle is definitely like the people who eat there, we all sort of like look at each other like, yeah, you know what's up. Once a month or every two, what the fuck is wrong with you, man?
Well, ours is 15 minutes away here.
That's right on the cusp.
I know.
No, it's farther than that.
No, farther than 15?
I'd say it's 20 at least.
Google Maps it.
You can Google Maps it. I'm actually working. You guys are just
Dude,
talking
go to
about Chipotle.
This is
MapQuest.
very important work.
MapQuest it.
Yeah, hold on. I'll find out.
Someone just said Qdoba. How do you boot people from this thing?
I have to do it.
Ah, he said Qdoba. Do those even exist anymore? I thought Chipotle crushed those guys.
All right. The nearest Chipotle, boom, 10 minutes, 5.8 miles.
Hey-o. The nearest one to me is like 0.7 miles.
Okay, well, that's a different ball game.
Yeah, it's literally the closest restaurant that there is to any restaurant. It's the closest.
That doesn't surprise me. That does not surprise me.
It's like the chicken and egg. Do I like it because it's super close? Or is it super close because I like it?
Chipotle just starts sprouting up around you wherever you go.
You know how I joke about the FedEx lady who knows my order?
Yes.
The Chipotle lady definitely knows my order. Actually, no, because I haven't like gone into a Chipotle. I always like do the takeout now because of COVID. You know, nobody knows me anymore. I'm just the guy who walks in the side door and grabs the bag and leaves.
Wow, low key. You're that guy who, like, if I'm in Chipotle for the first time in a while or whatever, I'm like, who is this? This is VIP stuff here. What the hell what did he do to get this type of treatment? And I'm the asshole in line.
When I used to work at this one company, like it was almost 10 years ago now, I would get Chipotle Yamwax style like every day. And all the people just like, I didn't have to say anything. It was so amazing. Just walking in. I've probably eaten Chipotle like 5,000 times in my life. It's way too many. Is it good for you or is it bad for you? I don't even know.
What do you get from Chipotle?
I mean, you know, chicken, rice,
Okay.
bowl. I usually get a bowl with double chicken.
All right. That doesn't sound so bad.
I'm not loading it up with the quesadilla or double wrap or any of that stuff.
Chris, what do you get at Chipotle?
Well, I get they got those fat burritos there. They're too big. It's too much food. But I always eat the whole damn thing.
What do you put in that burrito?
Chicken, rice.
Nope.
I don't put rice.
Nope.
What do I put in there?
Yeah, exactly. You don't even know your order.
No, I don't. I just put chicken in there.
It's chicken, fajita veggies,
Fajita veggies,
corn,
corn. I like corn.
and then sometimes your sour cream.
Yeah, I don't like sour cream. No, I just like the chicken, little veggies, little rice. That's it.
I think sometimes we do rice and sometimes we do no rice.
Okay.
Because there's one that like we do half the time for you.
I do double rice. I'll just load it up. Double rice, double chicken.
I'm getting hungry.
Holy
Panda Express is
eat us
solid.
pears.
Salad bowl. There we go.
Yep.
Double veg. And I love how people have their like specific thing that they get there. I like that. Like anyone else, people that don't order this, you're an idiot if you don't order exactly what I order. I like that. This topic is driving me crazy. People are just hungry now.
I know. My stomach growled.
It's too late for Chipotle, guys. It's
Dude,
kind of
truly,
that you guys are like
truly,
talking up Chipotle and no one can get it.
Yeah, it is effed.
truly, and Chipotle need to sponsor this show like ASAP or White Claw.
Agreed. Agreed. Somebody was drinking a seltzer. The Pack Profits was drinking a seltzer and
Yeah,
talking to Coleman.
What happened there?
Yeah, no, they did an episode on like preparing to go to a show, and I was like, this is cool. I listened to it, and then halfway through, Coleman's like, what are you drinking? He's like, oh, this is a seltzer. He's like, yeah, I'm getting on my crossover vibes. And I was like, oh, okay, all right. And then they also referenced Cardboard Chronicles because he was asking Coleman about like making content. And Coleman's like, yeah, he's like, when I saw Cardboard Chronicles, I watched every episode, and I was like, I want to do something like this sometime. So we got two acknowledgments in that good episode.
Random factoid. If there's ever a trivia game for Cardboard Chronicles, which there won't be because that's ridiculous, the only person to ever do an in-person interview at my house, Coleman. He's in the area, and I was like, you know what? Come on over, bro.
Yeah.
And it was raining that day, which in Arizona, and like rain is barely like a thing. It was raining, and Coleman came over, and we got the interview done, and it was fun.
Yeah, I remember that episode. You guys that was one of my favorites. Coleman was like inspirational to the audience too, because you kind of got him to talk about, going from being a waiter to full-time cards, and people.
He had just started. And he did it before it was cool. He did it before it was cool to become a dealer.
Yes, he did. He definitely did, and he did it when things were a lot riskier seeming than they are now.
He was like the king of 2018 Prism Luca.
Yeah.
He had gotten so much of that stuff and just done so well grading it and flipping it that it was like the perfect storm for him personally to jump into it full time. I love stuff like that, man. Like guys that are just.
Yep, that's what he says too. He was like, I just came back at the right time, and that's good because we could do a lot worse than Coleman being kind of the poster boy for the new dealer. We could do a lot worse.
Well, even just like his humility in that whole story of how he started, like, he saying, that he got lucky or whatever. He didn't just say he got lucky, but like his timing was really good. But it was obviously more than that. His personality, the way he approaches the hobby,
Totally.
The importance that he stresses with, being a good person in the deal. Those are the factors that really led to his success. But like his humility and pushing it off towards, I hit 2018 Prism Luca at the perfect time. We could use a lot more of that in the hobby.
Agreed. I certainly agree with that. I'll be keeping an eye on this guy as well.
Yeah. What do you mean?
He has not talked about cards in probably going on a month.
Really? Oh, was this the same lull we saw during COVID? What's going on?
Yeah, no, I don't know. He's definitely into NFTs right now, and we have a lot of celebrities. We have a lot of celebrities in the space right now, and the card market is booming right now. The Fleer and the Chrome rookie stuff we talk about in hour one obviously is cooling off, but there's plenty of other stuff going crazy, such as vintage baseball, but lots of stuff. So I don't know. Maybe he's just like, I'll take a break. I'll go do something else. And there's nothing wrong with that. The general idea of taking a break from the hobby. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
He's just jealous of the egg.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Because he's
Well,
in
he-
Kinder, but the egg is blowing up.
He posted on Twitter about the Jordan, LeBron, Kobe thing yesterday.
Oh,
Few
did
years
he
ago?
really?
Yeah, he posted I'll just paraphrase it. It was something like, invest in Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, and you'll be okay, kind of thing.
Wow. Yesterday? Damn.
Yeah, because I saw some people sharing it on Facebook, like,
Okay.
told you.
It's an interesting time to post that, all things considered.
Oh, I mean, I think it's the best time to post it. Everyone's, bored of it and moving on. It's like, it's the same as what I said about Pokemon earlier. After it dips heavily because of it went up too high, if you still believe in the market, who cares? Just stick with it. Don't worry about these hype beast guys coming in and then it dropping because it just has to, just whatever, just ignore that stuff. It's the same as like a stock market advisor telling you not to worry about a jump and a dip. Just stick with it. It's a long-term thing.
Yeah, that is good advice. Yeah. Well
If I was a big believer in 86 Fleer Jordan, I would not have even cared about any of this stuff that just it went through. I just wouldn't even care. Whatever, just doubled overnight for no reason, crashed 80%, still up, still in the same trajectory. Don't care.
Agreed. So yeah, I found the post. So February 25th, which would have been Thursday, he said JKL, like the alphabet. JKL, Jordan, Kobe, LeBron. # sports card investment life. Do homework and be thoughtful, but these 3 letters will work out over the next 2 to 3 days.
Damn it. I have a book that Virgin gave me for my son, and it's like a basketball kids book of like different players. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do. Yep.
J. And guess what slots are filled by 3 pages in a row? J, K, and L.
Nice.
It's like, wow, they're right back to back to back there.
Yep. HIJKLMNOP. Yep.
Do we need to go over this? It starts with A, and then we move on to my favorite letter, B. My daughter's getting into the ABCs, and she is ABCs, D's, E, F, just like mumbling through. She gets the ABC part, but the rest is kind of a mess.
It's like how to count to 100. 1, 2, skip a few, 99, 100.
Oh yeah, we got Josh, Christina, and
Lee Chris.
Look, Chris.
LaChris, yeah.
Little Chris.
Yeah.
Like Lil Wayne or Lil John.
Little Chris.
Little Chris.
Lil.
Or LaChris, like LeBron.
Or Lecrae. I couldn't think of any other rappers.
Or LaMelo, maybe, is really.
Ooh,
doing
dude,
that.
he's been balling. He's been balling.
LaMelo has been balling. Yes, he is.
Beat the Suns all by himself.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's just just a one-man show over there.
We should just end with that last comment. Just egg, just like a big old egg.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're into hour 4. So
I feel like I got egg on my face from that whole thing.
I do wish playback could see the chat because they can't, because Instagram doesn't save it. But I'm glad that they don't, because you have to join the live to see the chat.
Plus, you could summarize it pretty quickly for everyone. The chat was just a bunch of egg puns. So
Exactly.
Oh, I can't wait to see what the LeBron exquisite ends at.
This was an excellent episode.
I mean, I don't want to exaggerate or anything, but I thought we had an exceptional episode tonight.
You and I are some good eggs, man. Just a couple of good eggs.
Yep. Indeed.
I want to make a joke about your bald head resembling an egg, but I just won't. So that's
You already did.
Oh, my bad.
I'll take it. That's why that egg card is surging, you know. That's my rookie card.
Dude, I want a rookie card. That'd be sick. It's like me with a backwards hat, just like screaming at someone. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yes, it was.
Over
All
easy. Oh, God.
Good show. Thank you guys for staying with us for going on for over 3 hours. We'll be back next week. Any final words for them?
I'm gonna have eggs for breakfast tomorrow. Because I'm gonna need it for all that beer that I had.
There you go. All right. Next week.